Spooky.
Happy Halloween, motherfucker.
We're gonna talk about spooky stuff. Brains and
Trick or
stuff.
treat.
Boo.
Happy Halloween.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Howdy.
Hi, everyone.
I can hardly contain myself right now. It sounds like I can, but I can't.
I am so excited.
I'm so excited. No, I'm just really tired. But actually, we are reviewing definitely my favorite horror movie of all time, and definitely one of my favorite movies ever. So.
Yeah, it's a good one, guys.
It is a good one.
But
I mean-
first, who are we?
Crosscut Cinema.
Hell
we review
yeah.
movies of our mediocre friends, and we
Mediocre
Wow,
friends?
we're mediocre
No.
friends.
Wow.
we are friends
All
who
the
share.
mic levels just spike as we wow.
We're friends who share our possibly mediocre opinions about movies and shit.
Can you stop touching the headphone cord, please, mediocre friend, because it's making it go.
Wow, are you and Bridget just mediocre friends then?
Yeah, I
We
thought that we
are.
were like boyfriend and girlfriend,
I
but
thought they were
I thought-
sisters.
I thought we were engaged. I'm
Engaged.
gay.
I'm not gay.
I'm gay.
You're gay?
Yeah.
Ew.
Get out of the studio.
Does that mean I can't sleep in your bed anymore if I'm gay?
Yeah, that's fucking gross.
Especially if there's
Okay.
a sheet on the bed.
She thought you guys were just having a sleepover this
Especially
whole
if there's
time.
a sheet on the bed?
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're right. Madison hates the top sheet.
I do hate the top sheet. That's true. I'm a fitted sheet only ass bitch.
I have to keep my top sheet behind my pillow.
She
the
can
times
use
I
it
need
if she
it.
wants, but it's not for me. Like, I don't want that touching me at all.
She gets upset.
Yeah, I just don't like extra things touching me. I want as minimal things touching me in my sleep as possible. Like, Bridget can touch me, Buddy can touch me, my cat, and the comforter can touch me. Nothing else. No
Not
clothes,
Smokey?
no sheets. Smokey doesn't want to. He never sleeps with me.
He sleeps with me. He could sleep with you.
He doesn't.
He, but if he wanted
Smokey's
to,
also a cat. The cat
yeah.
guys.
no, he's a bear.
Actually, Smokey's
God.
our roommate.
Yeah.
He's just a guy.
That's what it sounded like. They're like, wow, Smokey's got it made right now. Wow.
But like, if Smokey wanted to,
Okay,
could
if he wanted to, he could.
I needed that to
Jesus
be
Christ.
in writing. He
Hot.
deserves to be able to
But
sleep next to his
what if we
mother.
all went camping, right? And we needed to stay close to stay warm.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, what's the arrangement?
That matters?
I say
just don't
go
want it
for
to
it.
be weird.
Why would it be weird?
Why would it be
So
weird?
it's be
We're
weird
huddling
between us.
for warmth.
You were the one that argued that friends can cuddle.
But Twix too. But Twix too would it
Like
be
all
weird?
of us, I don't know, because like, isn't the way that you do it? Oh, aren't you like naked?
No.
What?
Why would you get naked?
Because like when they say
No.
that,
That's when you're like good like hypothermia
Yeah, I thought
levels.
that was the scenario.
No, this is
We're
just
talking
it's
about just
cold.
cold.
Oh, okay, then yeah, sure.
Trust me, if you were about to have hypothermia, I'd have you like hold on to my balls or whatever you're supposed to do. I don't care. I want you to live.
Don't say that to me ever again. I'm so deeply uncomfortable.
It's accurate though. Because
Like, okay, if
Fun
if
fact-
I can't talk about my pussy, then you cannot say my balls.
well,
like,
this was in regards
in conjunction of
if
me
your
holding
if
them.
your vagina was gonna save my life, it would not only be in the conversation but would be required.
Stop! I hate this.
Wow.
God, what
can
the
you
fuck?
imagine?
Can we say our names now, please? God.
Could you guys imagine if this is somebody's first episode? Like, if this is your first episode, comment
Hello.
down below and let us know,
what you think?
like, what therapist you've chosen
Right?
to help you work out this trauma. I'm so sorry, sweetie.
Oh, God.
I'm
Well,
Brie.
it's that bad.
Or Bridget. I don't care what you call me.
I'm Madison. I do care which way you call me because I'm a person with opinions and preferences.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm Frani. Yeah?
Logan.
You can see that the movie choices got us feeling all excited and silly.
And
Yeah.
we are Crosscut Cinema. And
I
we already
just said
told you what
that.
we do.
We're still
Um,
crosscut cinema.
there's also-
It
gonna
has
be-
not changed.
So we're going to talk about Halloween and Halloween 2. We'll have timestamps down in
And
and
Halloween
Halloween
3.
3, Season
And
of the
Halloween
Witch.
3. Holy
Hey.
shit.
Must
This
Be
is a
the
mega
season of the
episode.
witch.
There's going to be timestamps in the description for
Now,
everything.
now we've heard your guy, because one guy told me this. We heard your guy complaints that when we tend to do like a series, like with Paranormal Activity, we kind of intercut with things from the other movies. So to help us combat that, we're watching Halloween, doing the review, stopping, watching Halloween 2, doing the review, stopping, watching Halloween 3, doing the review.
Yes.
So if you're using the timestamps, trust me, it's not that crazy or weird because it's pretty much like you're talking to different versions of or listening to different versions of ourselves each time.
I mean, we're doing this for you. Like, how easy would it be for us just to sit and watch 3 movies in a row? We could totally do that, but
Yeah.
we're not
We've done
going
it
to.
many a
Because
time.
the thing is, we know that we'd miss things. So this is so much better.
Yeah, it really is.
And this just goes to show you. We'll take your feedback. If
Absolutely.
if your feedback is like, shut up, you dyke bitches, obviously not. But if you have a legitimate complaint, we can try to correct.
Also, like telling people that they should just fire the guy because he's a guy,
or
not.
For the first time ever in Crosscut Cinema history, we edited something because I said something really stupid. And so now it's not in there. You'll never know what it was.
And that's all we'll say about that. Leave your guesses in the comments.
please,
Please do.
if you get close,
We can
not
hear some really funny guesses.
Yeah,
as well.
if you get close, we'll do nothing about it. We'll never talk about it.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
we'll like random ones just to throw people off. Like, like it'll be who actually farted in that one episode.
Oh God.
We all know who farted. It's not a mystery. What? No, shut up.
We're just like,
That's such a magical moment
That
caught.
was so cute.
Wasn't that on Reservoir Dogs?
I
No.
don't know.
It was on something that was like
yeah, it was on Reservoir Dogs. Let's totally all go watch Reservoir Dogs and like try to figure out.
Yeah, go watch
When it
Reservoir Dogs.
happened, 'cause
Actually,
it was
what
on
you
Reservoir
what you
Dogs.
wanted us to say is on the Reservoir Dogs video. If you just listen to that, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, correct. You should all just go watch that.
But right now, we're going to talk about my favorite horror movie of all time, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So John Carpenter's Halloween, very low budget indie, only made for $300,000. Basically funded entirely by Mustafa Akkad, also known as the King of Halloween, because as a result of all these Halloween pictures, he and his son have made a lot of fucking money.
But they have.
yeah.
That's
And
what
good
happens.
for them.
So the idea was originally just about making a horror movie where the babysitter fights off a killer. And from there, as you may have known, it's grown into like this gigantic franchise.
Yeah, I mean, which it like, and you can tell when you watch this movie, like, it was not intended to be that. Like, it was never.
No.
It was never made for that.
So the first, they
And
just,
I feel like now we make not Halloween, like horror movies with the hope of that they will get their sequel in their franchise. But I don't think this movie was that whatsoever.
No, so when this movie came out, first of all, Akkad pushed it to go wide. And the first weekend it was out, it had one of the lowest box offices of an indie movie. And then the next weekend it came out, the next weekend after it was out, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually became one of the most profitable, if not still, most profitable indie movies of all time.
That's crazy to think about this as an indie movie.
It's absolutely an indie film.
It's like
It's so crazy.
It's so iconic.
Yeah, so like it's synonymous with the holiday and with the slasher genre. Because when this movie came out, it really like redefined slasher. And I know it took some cues from Black Christmas, and that was a part of the inspiration too. But this movie in particular is the reason why the big three exists. You know, Michael, Freddy, and Jason would not have happened if it weren't for Halloween.
Correct.
So let's talk about the movie a little bit, and then we'll get more into some facts and stuff.
I love like the beginning of this movie. I feel like it makes sense to kind of like think about this movie chronologically. Should we say like the plot of this movie? Yeah, we usually do that.
Yeah,
but-
we can do that.
So essentially, the movie opens with a young girl, a teenager, and her boyfriend.
Judith Myers, and the boy is tagged as boyfriend, so
Yes.
he has no name.
Her and her boyfriend are in their house alone. Their parents are gone. And she has a little brother named Michael, and he's around. Or
He's around?
he's been trick or treating. He's out, whatever. She and the boyfriend, they do what teen lovebirds do. They fuck. And Michael comes home. He sees her in the window.
Well, I do want to say this too, but you're talking about the window, but there's a little thing I wanted to add.
Yes.
This is the tracking shot that not only defines a lot of slasher horror, but is so like ingrained in what Halloween is, where the whole time we're looking through the dimensions of this child. Like we're seeing through his eyes as we're seeing things. And the reason why cell phones, no, I'm just kidding. The reason why,
Sorry, it was Apple
Like that.
News telling me that LeBron James has won his 4th NBA title. That was pivotally important.
there you go, LeBron, get it, baby. Anyway, I have no opinions on LeBron, by the way.
Me neither.
LeBron James. LeBron.
Stop.
Everything you're doing. So let's talk about the movie. So what was I talking about? And when people went to see this movie, which I've heard a lot of older people talk about, like when they went and saw in '78, and there's a great video online of audience reactions to the film, and it's really fucking cool because you heard how terrified people were. But when the movie starts, you have no idea that this little kid or that this person stalking through the house is a little kid.
Right.
Until eventually you see the hand of the mask.
It's so crazy to think about watching this without knowing what it's about. You know, like I can't
Right.
put myself in those shoes.
Yeah.
Is this a good time to say that we're a spoiler podcast?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
good.
I thought we said that already, but if
We didn't say that at the top like we normally do.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
we review things as full spoiler review. If you want to hear about the movie after you've watched it, you come here. Or if you want to hear about the movie without watching it, this is a good spot too. But we will spoil the fuck out of it.
Yes.
Just so you know.
But-
so
yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, it opens with, you know, this you're following this person like in this house, you know, prowling around, being
And
generally,
outside, too, with the
and
bushes and
outside,
everything,
yeah.
too.
It feels like a first
Such a
person
great
like
shot.
shooter video game, but with a knife, because like you can kind of like see the
Right.
knife and yeah.
Yeah, so you're like you're following this person who's in this house, and he's not supposed to be there, and he's got this knife, and then you know, the person walks up the stairs, he stabs Judith to death.
Well, first it should be noted that this is iconic scenery that's always given throughout the rest of the films. His sister is sitting in the mirror, naked, brushing her hair, kind of like it's like the ultimate vulnerability. Like literally, in every sense of the word, she's incredibly, insanely vulnerable. Which help lends to the idea, not only in like, you know, metaphorically of the film, it helps lend to the idea that this little kid could overtake her.
Right. You know,
She yells out, Michael! Which funny little story about the Michael. I used to have this as a ringtone where the girl would yell, Michael! And at one point, this guy, Johnny, fuck you, Johnny, for doing this to me. He knew I was in class, so he texted me, and all of a sudden, during this really quiet test, you hear, Michael! And it's oh no, you fucking asshole. Michael! Because that's exactly how shrill and awful it sounds. And then, you know, you hear the first flourish of the music, really like the loud, like action-y music as he's like stabbing her.
Right.
And I mean, granted, it's 78, but it actually looks pretty good. And
no, I think this movie looks great, and especially
It really
like,
does.
I mean, we watched like an HD remaster or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and it looks so good.
yeah, and the 4K's out there, and I've seen the 4K, and it's even better. Like the colors and everything are like so much better. That's something I was thinking about getting eventually. But another thing is when he puts the mask on, it seems like a silly shot, but you see just like the two eye holes because he has this mask on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
You get to like see it from his eyes, you know.
His
and,
perspective.
and then it gives you a feel of what he's seeing like for the rest of the film because he's also wearing a mask like the whole movie. So you kind of get that idea that that's what everything looks like to him. And that helps with a lot of the times where you're like, how did he not see that person at his periphery, you know?
Right.
But it's because he can't see shit.
because he has this huge fucking
Very
mask
true.
on.
But anyway, go ahead and continue.
But anyway, so you see this child stab his sister. This is Michael, and you know, he comes out of the house. He's still holding this like kitchen knife, and his parents arrive home and realize what he's done. And then we cut to what?
Well,
Is it ever explained why he does that?
why he kills his sister?
Yeah.
Because he has the blackest eyes and the palest face and the emotionlessness.
He's evil, Bridget.
He's not a person. He's a shape.
I feel like other movies maybe
Cool, I
do
just
try to
wondered.
explain.
Oh
like,
yeah, but we can't get
but
into
we don't
that
wanna get
because-
into that,
because right
'cause
now
that's
we're
not what we're
watching
talking
this
about.
fresh as it is.
Right.
But there are definitely explanations given. A lot of people really migrate towards Rob Zombie's take on the origin. Franny's one of those people who really prefers it.
Yeah, I do. I feel like you get a lot more backstory and understanding of Michael as a character.
And that's
in Rob
why I
Zombies.
don't like this.
I was
Really?
gonna say that is my like primary issue with it.
But we're not going to talk too much about the zombie films.
All
So
right. Pause.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we had to take a brief pause. Wanted to make sure recording was right. But like what I was saying, I like Rob Zombie's take because I feel like you get more backstory. Is it even said that Laurie Strode is like his sister.
Okay,
in
so
this?
here's
Or-
the thing. We're gonna
That's a major spoiler for
yeah.
subsequent
So
movies.
no, they don't, and we will not talk about it anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
There we go. Okay, let me get into because I don't want to go too much into Rob Zombie stuff because we will eventually review the Rob Zombie films as well.
Like I have like such thoughts about it, and it's gonna be so hard, but I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not getting into it.
It's
So,
gonna be
My
so
bad,
easy for me
guys.
because I haven't seen them.
The movie flashes to after they iconically pull the mask off of Michael and used to do like Michael like little boy
like this
face.
literal little child.
And
yeah.
the parents like, Michael, what did you do? Like, I don't know why, but his family suffers from shrill voice disease. Like all of them sound like Fran from like the nanny. You know what I mean? Anyway, not the point.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
They sound like Fran from the podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
Fran from the
no.
podcast.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't,
Don't
sound like
say
that.
All right, so there's a title card that says 15 years later, and we're eventually introduced to these two people in a car. One's a nurse.
One is a psychiatrist.
One is a psychiatrist. The amazing, cannot compliment enough Donald Pleasance in his iconic fucking role as Dr. Loomis. One of the best horror characters. One of the best horror
so
protagonists.
fucking long suffering.
Yeah.
That poor man.
Yeah. Dude.
Honestly, I gotta give it to him though. Like, if people would just fucking listen to him
Right?
in the first place, they're like, if you were his doctor, why didn't you tell everyone
he's
that this
like,
happened?
But how true is that for real life though, where something goes wrong and all of a sudden the person who's at the helm of that thing, who said the whole time don't do it,
And then they did it.
Like think about like with the U.S. and everything, where like the military was like, dude, a fucking you guys are bound to have a pandemic. Do something about it. And then the pandemic happens. Like, where was our research on this? It's like, hello,
right
assholes.
here. Like, we did.
Correct.
Ugh.
So accurate. And then they're driving to help transfer Michael to a different facility.
Right.
And on the way there,
And it's Halloween night.
it's not Halloween. It's the night before Halloween.
Oh yeah, the Halloween Eve. I mean
Yeah.
to say
Eve.
Devil's Night, as they
the
say.
Eve of All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
I hated that.
But I think the night before Halloween's Devil's Night, right? Isn't that what it's called?
I don't know. I've never heard that said before.
I
but
think so.
If I've seen The Crow once or twice, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
dated
yeah.
a
That
girl who was
wasn't
like,
it.
I dated a girl who was like so into The Crow.
Crow's
My ex-best friend
Fantastic.
is really
I've
into
never
the
seen it
Crow
actually.
another one
I've
for the
seen it.
podcast.
a couple times.
The sequels are terrible. Anyway, we're going off of base. They drive up.
It's called Devil's Night.
Boom, baby. What up? Anyway, so on Devil's Night, they drive up to the sanatorium and they see all these people.
Oh, hey. Okay. So it got the name after anti-police riots in Detroit. Led to something or another, but I'm about that. Anyways,
alright, cool.
continue.
For a second, I thought you were interrupting me for something so unrelated. I was like, oh my
No,
God.
I interrupted you for something very
That's
relative.
insanity. That's completely relevant.
Oh, I said relative. Oops.
Relative.
Anyways, continue.
All
Madison has a
relative.
conundrum about relatives. Fun fact.
Shut up.
That's what we blacked out of the podcast.
No, it's not.
Anyway,
Didn't we talk about that already though?
we're moving
the-
on.
on the
Amongst
podcast?
ourselves.
So they
I
drive
don't
up.
remember.
They drive up to the sanatorium, and there's a bunch of dudes walking around. And unless it's like the day before Labor Day, there's something wrong because it's just a bunch of dudes in white everywhere. And as a result, like the nurse goes, "Oh my God, why they let him wander around?" And Dr. Loomis, of course, like, "No, this is some fuckery."
Which, like, obviously,
Yeah, I know.
you
exactly.
dumb bitch.
Yeah, exactly. He goes up to the gate. Michael jumps onto the car, terrorizes this poor woman, gets in the car, drives away. Now, a lot of people have comments about the driving, but the film, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill knew that was going to be the one thing that everybody harped on. So they actually built a line into the movie where Loomis is explaining to the guy who runs the facility, like, hey, like he's gonna go to Haddonfield. He's like, how's he gonna get to Haddonfield? He doesn't know how to drive. And then Loomis gives that famous line like, oh, somebody around here must have taught him because he was doing very well last night. And that is like, that one throwaway line eliminates so many arguments where it's like, okay, they acknowledged it. What are you gonna do now?
Right. It's like, okay then.
And then later films found a need to explain why, and we'll talk about those as they come up. But I thought that throwaway line was good enough for me. I'm like, he knows how to drive. He also knows how to get shot in the face and live. So why are we questioning the driving thing? But that is always a question that everyone has, and I find that so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, this dude has taken everything to his body. He's been stabbed in the eye with a wire hanger. But how does he drive?
How does he drive, man?
It's such a good question.
Like, it's important. The logistics are important.
And then, so what ends up happening after that is you start hearing.
He proceeds back to his hometown.
Yeah, yeah, and then you see this girl, Jamie Lloyd. Her dad owns with the Meyer house, with his old house, and she's going to
He's
drop
a realtor.
off a letter. Yeah, she's gonna go drop off a letter.
Jamie
at this house.
Lloyd?
Sorry, Laurie Strode. Jamie Lloyd is a character later in the series. That's my bad. That's my bad.
Yeah,
was
Laurie
just going
Strode,
with it.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode.
Yeah, that's why I did it, because there's a character named Jamie Lloyd that's like
Yeah.
basically the surrogate Laurie Strode later. So
Yeah.
I was just going with them. Like,
I
yeah,
didn't even notice. I was just like vibing.
yeah, it's
like Logan knows.
but like it's an honest mistake because the lady's name is Jamie Lee Curtis.
I
Right.
mean,
I know.
And the character, there's a
yeah.
character very closely related to her named Jamie Lloyd. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
do you think they did that on purpose?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought so, but I mean, I've not seen the later films. I've seen this one and then the new Halloween because Madison and I went to a drive-in and saw both of them at the same
And so
time.
did they. We could have been there at the same night before we even knew each other. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
That is wild.
I think about this a lot,
You know,
actually.
There's a great scene in the movie where Lori is in class and they're going over this like assignment about they're talking
Fate.
about fate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like every time I watch it I'm like really struck by that scene because it's like this idea that fate brought Michael to Lori.
Right.
And,
Because
like-
at this time, this isn't spoilers, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
At this time, Deborah Hill and John Carpenter did not plan on making them in any way
Right.
related. So the way they identified it was the original premise is there's a babysitter fighting off the killer.
Right.
So that's all she is. She's the enemy. She is the nemesis.
And
so when they
fate
talk
has
about
brought them
fate,
together.
and trust me, they repeat that classroom scene in so
Throughout,
many
yeah.
of these movies. And aside from H2O, they're all really bad when they repeat them, but whatever.
H2O.
Yeah,
And
Halloween
it's just
H2O.
also like
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the mermaid
The
show.
mermaid show H2O.
Like H2O just add water? Like, is
yeah,
that...
Michael's out there swimming and shit. He's got floaties on, little pumpkin floaties.
Michael Nar. They're all Australian.
Oh god.
That's so funny.
Two of the
I
girls
was
What kind
very
of sandwich would
confused.
Michael eat?
A turkey.
Turkey sandwich.
A turkey sandwich. Oh, you'd have to be there,
Yeah,
fans.
pretty much. I was making fun of her fake Australian accent because of the way she said turkey.
I feel like I was going really good until I said turkey.
Yeah, until you said turkey, it was like, wait, what? Once you said turkey, you're like, is this vaudeville? I don't understand.
It's a turkey sandwich.
It's like we got Elvira over here talking about turkey sandwiches.
I wish I was over. I were talking about turkey sandwiches. That would be bomb as fuck.
Anyway, so but what I was talking about how Laurie Strode, not Jamie Lloyd,
Yeah.
walks through the house, drops an envelope in as she's talking to Tommy Doyle about the Boogeyman.
Oh, Tommy.
And it's the first time in the whole movie where we see the outline of Michael with mask, with jumpsuit, played by Nick Castle, the director. One of the not of this movie, but he was a director. And they couldn't afford a stuntman, so all the stunts that were done by him for $25 a day.
Hell yeah.
That's insane.
Get
to
that
me.
bread, boy.
Did he eventually go to like make money off of the movie because he was in it, or was like that it? He'd get $25 a day.
He
and
has a
done?
great a great working relationship with them, so I'm sure they gave him something on the back end.
Right.
It also came from that infamous picture. This is infamous because this is the correct use of the word, 'cause I've been saying that incorrect lately. There's a picture of Nick Castle pulling his mask up, kissing Laurie Strode, which ended up as a result of later points in the series being a real Luke Skywalker fucking
yeah,
Leia
that's
moment.
gross.
But that picture before that was like, I mean, it's so many posters and shit like
Right.
that. It's a great
I
picture.
hate that though.
I mean, it's not canon really anymore because of the new stuff. But at the time, when the next movie came out, they're like, ew, people probably ripped those posters off their walls, burned them.
They're like,
They're like, we don't agree with
gross.
Madison's dilemma right now. They throw in.
Can you stop?
It's so weird to think about this movie as a separate entity, like that it was only supposed to be about a babysitter fighting this
like,
shape of a man.
I don't know. Like, and it's like, say we want about like I don't know. I feel like people have mixed feelings about there being a new continuity now.
I mean, but this is the 5th continuity.
Yeah.
So I don't. If they have feelings about it, they can seriously go eat a boot.
Yeah,
because
but
the last 4 were tough
I
enough.
love the new continuity. I like that it exists.
I like it.
I think like let's get back to our roots here.
I'm the person who's like, whatever will make more Halloween films.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I guess like that's pretty much the plot of this movie. Is like he gets back to his hometown and he runs around
Slashing
stabbing
people.
babysitters.
So pretty much like
Almost exclusively babysitters.
I guess their meet cute
And their
moment
boyfriends.
that like
and
gets
their boyfriends.
Their meet cute moment.
their meet cute moment that like gets him obsessed with like trying to kill her, I guess, is when she's dropping off the keys then. There's no
yes,
other-
yes.
Yeah,
That's,
because he
Okay.
sees her
that's
through
the
the-
introduction to
It's just as simple as
his
that in
enemy.
this one.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Huh.
And that's why it's so significant that she drops us off to the house is because
Right.
she's
he sees her.
Yeah, he sees her, and he, well, I'll just go into a little bit of the later stuff of the film, and we'll come back to it. But the whole film shows that Laurie Strode is the perfect nemesis for Michael.
Right.
He's a tough, aggressive man, and she's a capable, strong woman.
Right.
And they're the perfect, like, exemplifying moment for that was you see that she's learning his thing. She's learning his movements by this. At one point, she's trying to get out of the house, and she's in front of a glass door. And he busts his hand through a normal door to turn the doorknob to unlock. She then does the exact same thing by cracking her hand through glass to unlock, showing that she's picking up on what he's doing, and she can outsmart him because she can keep up with what he's doing.
Damn.
And that is shown throughout the whole film. Where
That's
like,
pretty badass.
Isn't that badass?
She's a bad bitch.
She's the scream queen.
We were
I think-
talking about her wardrobe too, and like how they tried to make her look so frumpy that they just put on white like
And like
knitted
now
tights.
she's like a 2020 hot girl.
right?
She really
Like-
is, though.
If I saw her at a farmer's market,
Yeah.
I would be like lesbian and I'm trying to shoot my shot.
I just picture her with a little
You do that
basket.
thing where like you lick your end fingers and like roll it over your eyebrows and shit.
Yeah. Let's go get some organic
Pop your
honey,
collar and
baby, and then
shit.
talk about our feelings.
What's that one store like pottery thing? It's like
Pottery Barn.
Pottery Barn.
no,
yeah.
there's another
no,
one.
he's singing a "Color Me Mine."
Color Me Mine.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you'd be like, hey baby, I like anime. You want to go to Color Me Mine?
You just hit Madison where it
No,
fucking hurt.
I only break out the anime references if I know she's an anime girl. Like, you gotta pick and choose.
You got like a little file in your head.
You gotta have cat ears on for her to pull out that move.
Stop.
Oof.
Cat
Only
ears.
15-year-old Madison, though.
I mean, yeah, correct. Well,
yeah,
it depends on
we
the gal.
can't speak on current Madison because current Madison isn't ever in that situation and shouldn't be.
Right.
So
Correct.
correct.
I mean, like, if
It
you're
won't
in that
happen.
situation, that's very upsetting for me, so.
Right.
I mean, I guess
So
you
I'm
could
not,
be.
So let's.
let's move on now.
Right.
But no, there's a bunch of great symbolism in the film. For instance, when she's in the car with her friend and they're listening to "Don't Fear the Reaper," I mean that's pretty obvious. That's,
Right. Yeah.
And they're smoking the reefer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Which, I
and
mean,
smoking the Reaper.
Yeah, if you're in
Hey.
1978 and you're in a red car, like blasting it, you're smoking marijuana. That's what's happening.
I know. We were having a debate on if they were smoking
I
devil's
couldn't
lettuce or.
remember. I mean, it's very clear that it's marijuana.
Yeah.
Like
It is very clear.
a minute later, but
Yeah. And then just the bumbling oaf of a cop dad.
You know, I
Also,
don't
like,
think that's a fair description.
You don't think he's
like
bumbling?
he's not.
I guess I don't know. He's just
he's-
got like
No, what
sinister vibes. I don't know. I don't like his vibes.
I don't agree with that. I think his issue is he is so used to mediocrity and
Yeah.
normalcy around his town. He's not used to a serious offense or people doing serious things. I mean, the way he handled people robbing that store, he's like, it was just a bunch of dumb kids. He never even considered that someone stealing fucking knives could be dangerous.
and a
Right.
mask.
And a mask.
And some rope.
And a rope. By the way, fun fact, that Michael mask, most people know this, it's actually a William Shatner Star Trek mask that they spray painted white and cut the hair of and shave the eyebrows off of
Hell yeah, dude.
to make like a motionless face.
That's really cool.
That's indie budget right there. You just grab yourself a Star Trek
Do you
mask.
think
Like,
that-
do what you can with
Do you
what you
think that
got, dude.
Michael Myers did all that to
Yeah, he
Nice,
went and
yeah.
got the Star Trek.
Yeah, he went and he had like a thing of bleach and he was like dipping it.
I can just see him like looking up inspo on Pinterest. And
like how to hide my identity?
Yeah, he's got shit hearted and shit, and it's like Spock masks and stays like, I don't like the hair, I don't like the bangs, I gotta do something else.
And he realized that like he's gonna have to DIY it into getting what he wants.
Yeah. He's
You
like,
gotta really like mix and match with your
if
Halloween
you want it done
costumes.
right, you gotta do it yourself. Oh, speaking of there's a couple of things I want to mention about the jumpsuit. So you know that he.
Oh wait, I want to say something about the cop though first.
Go ahead.
Because it was driving me crazy. Like more than once in this movie, he like comes up behind someone and scares the shit out of them.
He Vulcan death grips everybody in this
Right,
movie.
and
He
it's
grabs
like,
them by the
dude.
shoulder.
I can confirm that this has happened. If you come up behind me like that, you're getting an elbow to the face. I got siblings.
It's a fair point.
I got siblings, bitch, and they like to RKO me. So,
And then
like, do not do that shit.
He did say that iconic line where it's like, "Oh, it's Halloween. Everybody's entitled to one get scared." That's
Yeah,
another thing that's
very
always
iconic
repeated
from
throughout
this
these
movie.
movies. And then there's an H2O, especially. Yet again, can't talk about why. But what I wanted to get to was he eventually attacks this man on the road with a truck. He doesn't steal his truck, which is really interesting. I've always thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, he literally just like killed him to kill him.
Yeah.
Well,
they
he
get
killed
his
him
to get
jumpsuit.
his jumpsuit as
Yeah.
well.
But
He said, "I like that outfit. I'm gonna take it."
but there's a
He
couple
didn't say
interesting
anything at all.
things. One,
Well, he said that mentally.
there's a Red Rabbit cigarette like lighter thing. When they were shooting one of the movies, they used as their fake title so people didn't crowd the thing as the Red Rabbit film based on those matches.
Nice.
So when they were shooting, I think it was Halloween 4, they didn't want people to know because it was like on the down low that Michael was going to come back.
Right.
They had that matchbook be the name of the movie they were so called shooting.
Nice.
That's really cool.
And then also Phelps, the person he stole the garage uniform from, there's a character which they've since changed but was listed in Halloween Kills as having last name Phelps. And we're wondering if maybe this is a revenge type character amongst the Halloween community. Like he killed his dad, so he's after Michael.
We
Fun
shall
little
see.
factoids.
Huh.
But since this changes, since all the fans went like, "Why is that guy named Phelps? Is it the
Right.
same? Is this the same guy or Phillips or whatever it
They're
was?"
like, no, fuck.
It's like, God damn, we gotta change it now. Or it's like, fuck, they found us out. Because that'd be a really cool idea. Because the series
Yeah.
have always reintroduced old characters you forget about.
Right. Yeah. True.
And that guy's kill was so unceremonious because nobody even finds him.
Right.
Because Loomis
Right.
didn't find him; he just walked away. So like,
Right. I mean, Loomis doesn't give a shit. To be fair, he's just like, I want to know where Michael is.
But even more so, I mean, if Loomis saw the body, he'd be like, "There's a body on the highway." He like,
right.
but
he
who
would've
knows
told
if anybody's
somebody.
even gonna ever find his body?
That's really sad.
I would assume somebody finds his body.
I would
at
have-
some
I would
point in his
eventually,
life,
but,
and,
like-
you know.
At what point? How long is he gonna be there? You know.
Exactly. And will they
Right.
even know who killed him? Will they even connect the
Well,
murder?
they figure it out. Yeah.
I mean,
because he didn't.
probably.
He didn't steal the car.
Right.
And
All he has
also-
is a nondescript jumpsuit with no markings or signs on it.
Correct.
And also, the doctor didn't like report it. Presumably,
You
we
know,
don't
Loomis
see.
is too busy like running around with his hair on fire.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
he's
that's fair.
He's just trying to get this shit like together.
I mean, I feel that. I feel like that's how I am in my everyday life. So
His voice is so amazing for this kind of movie though. Like his long monologues is really what brings you into thinking this isn't just a slasher, this is cinema.
Right.
Like he was really able to sell the crazy doctor character and to let you know the importance of the situation.
yeah.
You know, that darkest eyes, palest face monologue is amazing. That
Yeah, and I mean,
evil
it
has come
tells
to your
you-
town tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, it tells you who Michael is.
Mm-hmm.
Without, I guess, having to visually see the backstory, you get it via Loomis.
And then you get that little human moment where he scares off those kids that bullied
Yeah, that was
what's his
cute.
face. I was like, fuck yeah, get those kids because they bullied Tommy Doyle. He doesn't know that,
yeah.
but Tommy's one pumpkin short, and Dr. Loomis took care of those little bitches.
Hell yeah, he
he
did.
is one pumpkin short, guys.
Yeah, he's one pumpkin short.
I was so sad.
Yeah,
That's like the saddest fucking thing to me. Like he
know.
fell he's on this pumpkin.
They were so mean to him.
and then some of the best parts of the movie in the filmmaking is the blocking, because they
Yeah.
so effectively show you this neighborhood, show you the inside of both houses. You know exactly what obstacles lay ahead for Jamie as she's running away, like Jamie Lee Curtis as she's running
Yeah.
away from Michael, as well as like you know every nook and cranny. Like you yourself are like, okay, Michael could be there, there, there. They lay
Yeah,
it
like
out,
they make you very familiar with this neighborhood.
and that's what makes it feel so much more real. Because like that's a quiet neighborhood that I'm from.
I like that too.
It
'cause
does. Yeah, it does feel like
I
that.
mean, they made it very obvious that like Lori knows these houses too.
Mhm.
So I like that you kind of get to be there with her in a sense.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's,
and like everybody knows where everybody lives, and
Yeah.
like the Mackenzies, they're down the street. Go get them. Or you're babysitting Lindsay. Well, I'm 3 houses down. Like everybody knows this neighborhood.
right.
They see somebody driving a certain kind of car. They assume they know who that is.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like all these names, and especially in the sequel as well. These names they permeate everybody who's listed is eventually seen, even if it's like a throwaway name like Ben Tramer. You get a Ben Tramer,
Right.
And that's what's so great about the movie is it just feels like such real people dealing with this.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a lived-in town.
And as somebody who comes from like the fucking smallest town in the world, not really, but like as someone who comes from a very small town, I feel that, and I really appreciate that in a movie.
Me too. I came from like the type of town where you know where everybody lives, and
Right,
like if there's a
same.
strange car and everything.
And then it also explains why are these doors not locked as much? Why are people?
Well, that's exactly why. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what explains. That's what I just said.
the doors are. Yeah,
I mean,
I know. It's cool that it's set up like that. I like the setting.
Yeah, the
And
setting
it's
is
house
great.
porn. I love a good house porn.
And
Same.
All these great like 70s interiors and stuff too.
Like,
It's amazing.
And all
people-
these like small town wraparound porches.
And a lot of people talk shit on the teenage characters. I want to go ahead and throw a fuck you in your face. 'Cause
They're
I
these-
so
love
funny.
them. They're hilarious. They
Everyone-
bring like some needed comic relief.
and also, like, when you were in high school, you had some vicious ass friends like that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I
mean,
did.
I definitely like.
Yeah, that's very high school.
Like I have friends that I still like lovingly roast all
Yeah,
the
exactly.
time.
We all roast each other on the regular.
Yeah, correct.
On
That's
the
what this
podcast,
podcast is.
typically.
Even on the
It's
podcast.
just us roasting each other 24/7.
We have secret roasts we pass to each other on the podcast. You guys don't even know what we're joking about, but it's like a secret little. Because
Yeah.
that's how we
yeah,
are.
we just say random shit and people, and we just somebody. You hear something random, somebody chuckles.
Yeah, and you have
You
no
just know
idea.
that we just, like,
We just
secretly
burned
gotta
their ass.
burn in.
Yeah, we just burned their ass.
It's
Like
great.
when Logan asked me about the turkey sandwich. You guys weren't there, but it happened.
And yeah, so
Yeah, I love the way the movie is shot as well. Like, just like, I don't know, it just feels very like it really is like the slasher film blueprint in a lot of ways.
yeah, I mean every single movie, the big three, and people want to talk about how Michael is the most boring of the big three, and I can hear some of that, like the most boring air quotes, him as a character, but the films
It's
are the
so
best.
good, yeah.
Because he isn't a thing. He's a shape, like listed in the script. He's not a man. He's like an entity. And the issue with Freddy Krueger and Jason is they're either like so over the top jokey or like so impossible to kill. Even though Michael's really hard to kill, there's a vulnerability about him where like, okay, like you guys the whole time were like, just pick up the knife. Would it really have mattered if she had the knife if you think about it?
Right.
Everybody was so concerned, like, you should have the knife with you, except he doesn't fucking die.
Yeah,
Right.
except it like
But-
literally doesn't matter. But you
But you feel like it does because he just seems like such a like.
he's not a monster.
Exactly.
He's just a shape.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, we should be able to take care of that. But there's something about the film where it makes you keep forgetting that you can't. You think you can stop it, but you really fucking can't. It's something that's out of your control.
It's like fear.
Yeah, exactly. It's fear embodied, like Dr. Loomis said.
Yes.
And that's what's so great is that they took such a simple idea. Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, which, by the way, rest in peace, Deborah Hill, like one of the best producers ever, especially as far as female producers go, like made such awesome stuff. They wrote this script, and it may seem like a lot of this is a director's movie, and it is, and he directed, and it's really well directed, but the script is really airtight, even with like its bad dialogue. Because
Like,
it,
I kind of love the dialogue
exactly.
in this movie.
But even like the
actually.
bad dialogue, you're like, okay, I get what they're doing. And it's really kind of brilliant because it makes you feel so safe at times when you should not feel safe.
Yeah.
And yeah, like what I was gonna say, like the way this movie is shot, it feels, you know, like because this is like almost in some ways the original slasher movie. Like very few came before it that like made as much of an impact. Like only really Black Christmas to me.
There's Black Christmas,
like,
Carrie.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, you know, like earlier
I wouldn't
films
call
like
Carrie a slash.
But it
it
has
is
those inspirations.
But it is a
yeah.
horror movie.
But I mean, but this movie is like very. It has the conventions of slasher movies, but then you know that it started those conventions.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't know that, it still doesn't feel cliched. It still feels
Yeah.
suspenseful.
Yeah.
And even though I've seen this movie like many, many times, there are still scenes that like get me every time.
Absolutely.
Like definitely like the kill of what's his name? Bob, yeah. Like when he
No,
comes-
is it Paul or no? Paul's the other one. This
No,
Bob,
Paul's
Bob is the one he
Annie's
said.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Bob is
Which-
the other one.
Paul, where you at, baby?
Yeah, I know. We never do see Paul.
Paul is just he's in the
He's
wind.
just like he's just like he's waiting on Annie to come pick him up.
He's like, this bitch. I swear to God.
God, where the fuck is
But
she? But yeah, that scene where he like comes out and like just gets him.
and the way he hangs him,
Yeah.
it makes you. It's like Franny said. It makes you think about like the weight of the person.
Oh
but
yeah,
also,
that's all I
Yeah.
can think about is like the gravity and like what that's gonna do.
but also you're seeing like the artistic choices that Michael's making.
yeah,
and
when
they're
he just like,
artistic
the way that he
choices.
They really
stages
are.
everything.
Yeah.
Like,
when he just stands back and like looks at like his piece of art that he just made after he pinned that guy on the wall with that knife. Like he just stands there and like tilts his little head
and like
stares at
the
it.
positioning of the bodies and setting it up with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
gravestone.
No,
and,
no,
like,
no.
Yeah.
Here's my listen. I love this movie to death. It's one of the greatest movies ever. But there's a critique that I want to list that
What's
a lot of
your
people don't
critique?
think about. The way the bodies are discovered is that of like an operating like a haunted
Yeah.
house.
A little.
The
but it's-
bodies swing down. The door opens by itself.
Yeah.
These are things that could have easily been fixed by like Lori just like looking in the closet and opening the door.
Yeah. And to me,
And
that's
for me,
like,
that for me is like the one thing where I'm like, why did he do that? Because the rest of the movie, even though it's like kind of insane, is steeped in realism. Like, but aside from Michael, everything feels so real. So when that happens, I'm like, that doesn't feel that real to me anymore. Like, it just feels like a setup. And granted, he wanted to artistically set them up, but I feel like the decision to make it just open and things to fly, like Bob literally just swung down.
yeah, and to me, like that's a thing where when you're watching a movie like the first time, you don't really think about that stuff because you're like in it now. Like that's the point where
Yeah, you're
like,
freaking the
you've
fuck out.
transferred to being
Yeah.
in it. But like then on the second watch, yeah, you're like, okay, I feel like she could have opened that door.
Yeah.
It didn't need to like necessarily swing open.
But the friend on the bed with the Judith tombstone, that
Oh,
is,
yeah.
is amazingly iconic.
It really is. It's great.
And you know that he set all that up. And you know what's great about this movie when it's not like there's explanations later that was done because they were related and he wanted to like tell her in a way that they're related. But I like the imagery that this is just a psycho ass killer who like wanted to recreate.
SKC.
Yeah.
Fuck
Fuck you, Bloodshot, for ruining that song for me.
I know, right?
Oh, no.
Right?
But no, like it's just great imagery because it's not like the man. Like what's so great about Michael in this movie is that it's not so much about longing, purpose, and fate, even though like it is for Laurie Strode's character. It's like he's making an art piece for himself
Yeah,
and
like
doing these things because he wants to. Like
and that's what really makes this movie scary.
So fucking scary.
And that's like that. And I know we keep saying we're not going to get into it, and I'm going to get into it just a little bit. Like, I believe, and I feel like I've said this a lot on this podcast, where sometimes the more you know about something, the less scary it becomes.
absolutely.
And it's ultimately more frightening, at least to me, that this guy is just like doing this shit because
It's
he
random.
wants to
Yeah.
for fucking fun.
It's-
Then like he has some like sort of personal, even if that reason makes no sense and is fucked up, like. If it's personal, it's less scary because, like, at least he has a reason. It's not doing it
Because
indiscriminately.
what it draws
Right.
to is that when it's for a reason like outlined, it draws that he has an emotional presence, that something is affecting him to do this.
Right.
But when it's just a random need,
And
a
it's not.
compulsion, it's not the same thing. It's much scarier.
Right. And
Yeah,
like you
when
can
he-
rationalize he's not going to come after you. Like if he's going after like only.
Yeah, it's not indiscriminate at
Yeah.
that point. I mean, it is if it needs to be. But ultimately, like, he set out to do one thing, and that's what he's going to do. But, like, in this movie, he's just doing it to do it.
And not to even go into further spoilers, but that's one of the reasons why I'll defend Resurrection. I won't get into why, but that's something that I'll defend Resurrection for, and we'll talk about that one day.
It's
One day.
weird that like we don't get a lot of insight into like who Michael is and everything, but then he goes through such elaborate measures to set up this whole scene.
And that's the best part about it. Like, to me, like, you don't, like, this is just like they call him the kid calls him the boogeyman.
Boogeyman,
He
yeah.
really is,
Yeah.
and that's what's scary about the boogeyman is like you don't know the boogeyman's backstory, but you know that he's this like shape in the night that you're afraid of, and that's why
Right.
when it's 3 a.m. you're running up them stairs.
And
Little bitch.
after she discovers the bodies, which a lot of people, they don't know for sure because so many people were in the Michael masks and Michael suit. I'll get to this in a second. But when he like shows up in the shadows, like he like kind of like evaporates, like he like literally appears. That shit is the scariest shit because he's just like a moving mass. He's not a person.
Right.
It's like
yeah,
he literally
you can
magically
only see
appeared
the
there.
mask. It's like
Also, people say that that's Deborah Hill. They don't know for sure because they did so many takes, but they think Deborah Hill was the one in the mask at the time of the shadow. But
That's really cool.
But I was gonna say this whole movie is made like by committee. Like so many people are in the
Right.
costume. There's the dog trainer when he's picking up the dog to quote unquote kill him. That's the dog trainer in the jumpsuit to make it easier.
And you know it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of
He's
helps
just
me
hugging him.
personally. That helps me personally.
It's
we
a
were all
help to me
very
as well.
upset.
And then I know Nick Castle did a lot of it, but at one point or another, most people on staff were in the costume.
Which, I mean, I feel like that's kind of fun. Like, if I was on staff, I'd be like, I want to be in the costume.
And
Right, when do I get to
Yeah.
be
And
Michael?
the thing is, he's so standalone most of the time. You don't see, unless he's killing somebody, you don't see him in frame with a lot of people. So it's his height, because they switch so many costumes and so many different people, his height isn't consistent, which almost makes him scarier because they're like,
Right,
what the
'cause
fuck
it's like,
is this
what
guy?
are you, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fine. Like, you don't think about the inconsistencies in his height, really, you know?
Like
I
I
guess
didn't
now that-
notice.
Now that you say it, like, I can't even think about it, you know? I guess upon rewatch, if I
You
sat
probably
there and,
won't
like,
notice.
thought about it, maybe, but
I don't.
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really know if everybody saying where they is true, and there has been some discrepancies of like, no, that person wasn't there at that time, because the movie shot so fucking well.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's like Michael is just you don't know who he is. He's just like a shape. And I said before that I kind of like that we get a face reveal, and now I am almost walking that
I
back.
hate the
I
face
hate it.
reveal.
I
And
don't
here's
like
the thing:
it.
a lot of people agree that the face reveal is what not ruined the movie for them, but like upon rewatching, they're like, man, I really wish that wasn't there.
Yeah, me too.
So there is a fan edit out there where that part's just taken out. So
Nice. And you said John Carpenter dislikes it too.
John Carpenter barely likes Halloween as it is. He really doesn't like that decision. John Carpenter, as nice of a person as he is, really like Halloween is the redheaded stepchild of his career.
Yeah, for some reason he like just
Well, I kind of get it because he directed the best remake of any horror movie of all time, maybe the best horror movie of all time.
yeah, that like the Thing is one of my
And people are like, "You did Halloween."
and he's like, well, yeah, but the other one.
It's like, what about Escape? What about Escape to New York or Escape from New York or whatever? Escape from L.A. Like all that other stuff he did.
All my
like,
fucking movies with Kurt Russell in them.
yeah, like he's done so many
You
great
guys,
pictures.
if you guys listen to this podcast at all, you know I fucking love Kurt Russell.
she would fuck him in a heartbeat.
I would. Very weird for me.
It's very, very strange for everyone here listening.
I know it should be, and it is, but like, there's just something about Kurt Russell. I just love him.
So,
Hi, Kurt, if you're out there.
and then I also want to talk about, because we're talking about how he sets the scene. I don't care if it's inconsistent. I love the goofy sheet ghost scene.
I love it. I think
I don't
it's
give
hilarious.
a fuck. I think it's
I think
awesome.
it's really funny
Well,
that he wears the glasses on the outside of the sheet.
No, it's because
Yeah.
he's a ghost who needs glasses. What do you not understand?
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Well,
She's
we
been
were talking about
bitching.
this during the movie.
She's been bitching about this for so
Yeah, it, like,
Since we
she's
saw
like,
the
she's like,
scene.
why are the glasses on the outside? Why wouldn't you wear them on the inside? I'm like, bitch, you wear your glasses inside your head? No, they go on the outside where your eyes are.
Also, I do make the argument that is, I mean, like when you pointed out, obviously it's a little goofy, but that is how the directors are. The director is showing like that he's trying to pass off as Bob.
Right.
Which I think is fucking ridiculous, and I love it.
I mean, that's what it just says that like that scene, especially like when what's her face like shows her tits and everybody's like, whoa, you know, like
Yeah,
'cause
you're like, woohoo.
that's one of those infamous like titty horror movie scenes. People love those tits. I just want to throw that out there. There's whole horror conventions
There's-
where she gets asked about those tits all day long.
I mean, there's,
Really?
Yes,
Amazing.
definitely.
like, to me,
They're great tits. I mean,
me.
They weren't bad tits.
like,
I
a
hate that I
slasher
said
movie
that.
has to have some tit.
Yeah, and the thing,
Just
but,
sing-
but
just
here's
one.
here's the
It
thing
has to have
about
a little
this
bit
one
of tit.
though.
Like, you want your blood, your guts, and your tits.
Here's the argument I have about this one though is that like, and then again, I'm not trying to give a purpose to Michael's killing because I don't think it's that simple, but it does draw a nice comparison to in which he had murdered his first kill.
Yeah.
You know, like, so somebody having sex and being deviant in that way and, like, getting down and fucking dirty, like, that's some shit that Michael's like, no, I hate that.
And it
Absolutely
also
not.
shows his impotence too.
That's one of the things that Deborah Hill always talks about. Is
Yeah.
like the reason why the knife was so important to her in the writing process is because the knife is supposed to simulate
That's his dick.
for his dick, because he doesn't.
Right.
He's not like that in his brain. He doesn't have
Yeah.
those capabilities. And I thought that was always interesting that she took the time not only to say that, but like that she claims that was always in the writing process, and I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe her too.
Don't
I
they-
mean, I have no reason not
that's
to
why
believe
it's
her.
like his weapon of choice.
Don't they say that like killers in real life, like the FBI and shit, they're like, yeah, if they use a knife, it's usually like they're usually.
I'm not a member of the
or
BAU,
something.
but that sounds about right.
Let me ask Spencer Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, just
let me
think
call
about
him up real quick.
the moment in Scream with Stu and the.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But
I think the knife is definitely a dick at that moment.
But I think there's something to talk about, and it's what Roger Ebert said about this movie, why this is a great horror film, and I always cling to this. So, if you didn't know this about Ebert, he hates horror movies. Fun fact. He hates pretty much all forms of them. He thinks that they're incredibly sexist.
Who's Ebert?
He's one of the most famous reviewers of films of all time.
I need a minute.
Okay, thank
oh my
you.
god.
You've never heard of Going to the Movies with Siskel and Ebert?
Like that's
No.
everything that Logan and I want to be.
Yes.
I just
Wait,
thought
who's
you
Siskel and who's
might need to
Ebert?
explain
God,
it.
I don't even know.
I think Siskel's way more like liberal in a sense, you know what I mean? So I think that's
I
definitely
think
more leaning you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm more.
And I'm like, I'm a fucking snob. Let's be real.
I love a bad movie. Like,
I'm like a total fucking snob. It's true.
like I am too in some ways, but then also like my favorite film is Top Gun.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know what I mean.
But
That's all she wanted to watch for her
anyway,
birthday.
so let's
And
talk
I
about
fucking got it too.
She
Ebert, one of the greatest critics of all time.
If Franny doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, when you're a fucking movie critic,
Yourself.
you're literally a movie critic, and you didn't know that.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering if the fans would know.
They'll
They know.
definitely fucking know. You can't find anybody on the planet who doesn't know who Ebert is, or at least hasn't heard the name.
My bad, guys. I remember hearing the name now.
Anyway, he talked about, and then John Carpenter's also agreed with this sense, is that directors watched Halloween and they drew the wrong message from it.
Yeah.
Like, the point of Halloween is about the strength of the babysitter, the strength of the woman fighting off this like masculine evil energy, right? Now that's not exactly what they were saying, but that is what you draw from it, or what you should. But what a lot of horror directors drew from it, especially those who directed like people who made Friday the 13th and Nightmare and stuff, they're like, wouldn't it be great if we also made movies where girls' titties were showing and we had them killed all the time?
Right. Exactly.
Now to be fair, people want to still make that argument. And if you look at like the gender ratios and kills of horror movies, especially nowadays, it is primarily men who are murdered. I think that should be mentioned as well.
As it should be. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, it's
no,
not
but
that.
yeah,
But,
though, but, like,
the actions
she's
are
not
corrected.
killing people. She's killing men.
Yeah.
boys. But
Yeah,
I think
Jennifer's
boys-
body reference for all you people who listen to. Yeah, they would have listened to it by now.
Yeah, because this is like the last one.
Yeah.
This is on Halloween.
We recorded all this live
Happy
as you're
Halloween,
here.
motherfucker.
Anyway,
Twicka
we're all
twee.
interrupting each other quite a bit. Let me finish this little
Yeah,
thought
no,
here.
you go right ahead.
And I think Ebert, even in his older age, never really appreciated the fact that the course corrected. Like, he did a whole special of going to the movies where he trashed pretty much every horror film you can think of. The Howling, American Werewolf in London, like tons of horror movies. And he said the issue with these movies is that they're sexist and that they're essentially what you're drawing from is just like the murdering of the killer. And the whole concept of all these movies is, oh, they escaped the killer one time, but all their friends die, and then they're about to die from the killer, and they escape again. There's some truth to that in the genre, but I think this movie is not only the exception, but the idealistic representation of the beginning of the slasher genre that was not trying to sell that message.
Yeah, and I mean, I do see that point. But
Like if you look at Murder Train and Howling, like they do suffer from that, and it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
what he said.
yeah, it really is. I mean, there's like horror as a genre is like this is why I love horror as a genre because it's so complex.
Mm-hmm.
Like in some instances you have these like very like sexist tropes and the idea that to live through the horror movie you have to be a virgin and like those problematic things. But then also like horror has always represented to me like That's your effective use of girl power right there, ladies.
I mean, there's such a
and like a strong woman, Jamie Lee Curtis, fucking him up. And then I don't want to talk about the new Halloween too much because I mean we're gonna do that.
We'll do it, next year.
But you really get that in that new movie. I think my comment was when we were watching that movie, I was like, the devil works hard, but Laurie Strode works harder.
That was her comment. Actually, I can confirm. I was there.
And so.
And you get like...
So yeah, you like that's what you get from horror movies.
Yeah, and especially in that one, which, again, we won't talk too much, but you get like a trinity of women fighting together. Like, that's so cool.
And then I think that John Carpenter, if Deborah Hill was still alive, I'm sure she'd back this up, but like I think he's always been a filmmaker about... It's not the tropes that are important. It's subverting the expectations. And the tropes come and are created by him because everyone loves how their expectations were subverted. Like they want to copy what he did different because that's what this film is. It's incredibly different than what came before it.
Right.
Yeah.
Black
and
Christmas
what comes after it.
Black Christmas is like, okay, so like you have Invisible Man, right? Which is like the actual like women empowerment horror film. Like absolutely 1,000%.
Love it. Hate watching it.
Then you have Black Christmas, which is like literally the fucking opposite. It's a house of women who are solely murdered constantly.
Yes.
But at the same time, it was the times and everything, and there is a woman empowerment angle within it. But
yeah, I mean, and like the woman centeredness of it, there's something to be said for that.
But the reason why Black Christmas was like that, where a bunch of women died, is because that was what people expected out of the horror movies,
right?
And they slightly changed what people were expecting. John Carpenter came in and completely changed everything. Deborah Hill too, obviously.
Yeah, and like now we have the final girl, and like that is. Yeah, that is such an important like horror movie.
And it also started this theme of like they find indie obscure actors and actresses in their first movies and they make fucking superstars like Kevin Bacon, Friday the 13th, right? You got Jennifer Aniston in The Leprechaun.
Johnny Depp in
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, exactly. You got Jamie Lee Curtis in this.
It's so weird seeing these like well-known actors and actresses
this is like
as
Jamie
babies.
Lee Curtis's first movie.
Yes, yep. And then she went on to do Prom Night and became like the infamous Scream Queen. But then she changed her whole career when she was doing all these other films. And she did movies like Deck the Hall, not Deck the Halls,
Freaky Friday.
What was it? Christmas with the Cranks and Freaky Friday. Like she's and Knives Out. Oh my God, Knives Out, so good.
And now she's back being Laurie Strode again, bitch. And I love that for her.
But I think
what a woman.
I think it's really incredible how horror movies, especially one $300,000 for a budget, isn't shit. Like, understand that this movie...
And to make this movie...
This movie made so much money.
And still probably makes money.
Mustafa Akkad's probably in his grave, but, like, he's covered in dollar bills. And his son
Malik... He's covered in $100 bills,
his son
baby.
Malik just comes with, like, a dumpster filled with, like, fucking dollar bills and throws more onto his grave.
Every now and again.
Yeah,
just
because...
to,
They made so much money off this because it's such a brilliant concept. And I mean, of course, there were some influences. You have Psycho and stuff, and they paid their tributes to that. But this movie on its own, I really do think it's the best horror movie maybe ever.
I love it.
It's really great.
I mean, I love all of John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
That Wes Carpenter guy, as they say in Scream.
Wes Carpenter.
But no, I love John Carpenter's horror, and I think this movie, and also the thing, like, this movie is like so suspenseful, and it's amazing how suspenseful it is because one, not a lot happens in like large chunks of this movie.
Nope.
Like, you get your deaths, but like there is a big chunk like in the middle of this movie where not a lot is happening.
Like, oh my God, I think you wait until like a main character dies for like almost 90 minutes.
No, it's almost an exact hour. It's like 59.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember that I remember we paused and we were like, wow, there's only a half hour left in this movie, and like your those like core three characters, Lori, Linda, and Annie are still alive and like just going about their normal nights. And so like for a movie where not a whole lot happens, you still feel so suspenseful. Like they show you Michael just enough that you know that he's always lurking.
It's really weird. The music is the last thing I want to mention to make sure we get it out there.
Yes, I want to talk about that too.
The brilliance of this film, above everything else. I don't care what anybody says, how much they love John Carpenter. I mean, it is John Carpenter, but how much they love the direction, the writing. This movie is the best because it has the best horror music ever. I will contest with anyone. I know people love Psycho, people love Nightmare, people love the from Friday the 13th and shit.
This is like one of my favorite film scores ever. I love it.
It is the best.
It's so funky.
There's nothing, and the thing is, it's gone through so many iterations, but the base of what it is, especially when 2018 came out, they had a lot of cool stuff to the 2018 film. The music is entirely a character of itself. It does so much for the movie. If you take the music out of this movie, it is a fucking bore. I promise.
Right.
That's what makes this movie so fucking scary, is because the music represents a presence always. Because the music plays it plays at random times. Sometimes when Michael's not even possibly there, but because the music is playing, you're about to fucking shit your pants.
Right.
Because it puts you in the mindset of, like, last time I heard this music, he fucking slapped a window, like, out of the fucking car. Like, he broke a window with his hand.
He busted the windows out your car.
Or, like, yeah, exactly. Like, that one episode of that one show we don't talk about.
Mercedes, the curtain.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But we won't talk about it.
It's one of the best horror movies of all time.
Yeah, I
really
am
great.
absolutely obsessed with the score to this movie, and I just love that like the
That
synthiness
synth,
of
yeah.
it. I love a good synthy score.
He did
you know?
I can't remember the name of the movie. It's Precinct something, but he did synth for the first time on that film. And then when they were making this movie and they were like, what do we do for the music? They hadn't yet thought to ask John to do it, even though he's directing it. And they're like, wait, John, what do you do? And he's like, I got something. Do. The most fucking infamous score in like
Famous.
any movie. Sorry, famous. I keep doing that.
I was like, it's not infamous.
But the reason why I keep saying infamous is because there's some things really bad in the Halloween series that is infamous. But none of that is in this movie.
You know what I want to talk
I was
about
gonna
infamous
say,
in
like,
this movie is Jamie Lee Curtis's fucking leaf in her hair. Every time I watch this movie, it drives me insane. I'm like, girl.
I love. There's so many memes created from Michael like stepping out from behind the bush. I love all the Michael memes. So much.
I really want, if somebody could do me this, I would love you forever. I want you to like make an edit where every time Jamie Lee Curtis answers the phone and she's like, hello, who is this? And on the other end, it's just like, we're calling to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Just like do me a mashup and I'll love you forever.
Yes.
We'll retweet it and everything.
We'll give you credit. We'll shout you out.
And then
Do whatever you want.
I did want to mention Scream real fast, just in case you hadn't heard our Scream review. There are clear. If you've seen the movie Scream, you should also see this film. I know you're listening to it and you're listening to spoil it, but if you haven't seen it and you love Scream, there are so many things in Scream that were borrowed or blatantly taken. And the reason for that is this is the quintessential, like the main slasher. This is the picture perfect version of that genre. I feel that way.
And it was just such a good. It's such a good fall day to like fall evening to watch this movie.
Absolutely.
It really was.
We had like candles lit, and
Me
it
and
was
Bridget,
nice.
before we came over here, we went and like we bought our Halloween costumes.
That's cute.
Or part of our Halloween costumes.
Yeah, we're doing what Michael did. You got to mix and you got to match. If you want to get what you want, you can't just go to the Spirit Halloween and get everything there. You got to get your pieces. You know?
Right.
Oh, let's talk about another demerit of the movie, though, just to be funny. So he supposedly robbed the hardware store that night, and they let that alarm ring all the way through an entire school day and all this other shit.
God.
That's so funny to me.
Because he had the mask.
Yeah, that.
Even if you want to say he didn't have the mask when he was waiting at the Myers house, fine, fuck you, whatever. But he at minimum had the mask when she was in school and she looked out the window.
Right. And this is the one crime this town has had presumably since the Myers incident. So like, come on, y'all, what are you doing?
It's really
that and Lori and what's her face smoke weed in her car. That's a crime, but they don't get caught.
So what's a specific thing, Franny, that like you really want to mention with the film that hasn't been mentioned?
Nothing specifically. I was just gonna say we should say our favorite scenes.
Okay, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is in the beginning when they drive up to that hospital. I like the scene when like it's just lit by the headlights
And there's tons of people
and
everywhere.
you can just see like the
I love
people
how
from
Bridget
like
didn't pick up on the fact that they were let loose. She was like,
I was
why
also-
do they
She was
let them walk
What
around?
kind of a hospital is this? What the fuck?
To my credit, I was also writing a poem for one of my classes.
To your credit. I don't know.
To my discredit.
To my credit, I wasn't actually watching the movie.
Yeah, to my credit. I know you guys.
Discredit,
I know you guys all gather around and listen to our opinions on movies, but I didn't watch this one.
To my credit, I had other stuff I had to be doing.
I like that whole scene with Michael when he's like coming at her in the car. I actually didn't put it together until rewatching that was Michael. I'd always just like, I don't know why I thought it was just like a random person from the mental institute, but I guess it made like upon rewatch
because that's the shit that Rob Zombie would do. No offense to Rob Zombie, he would have like a random maniac like bust a window out in the Halloween movie for no reason. We want to talk about your favorite scene?
Yeah, for me, I really like the opening scene a lot. I think that's a really cool scene. But probably my favorite is, Laurie's like final confrontation with Michael. I love it. I think it's great.
Besides when he's demasked for a moment.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, like I love her fighting him off. I love the scene where she's in the closet specifically.
Yeah, the closet crashing scene has not only been repeated in Halloween films all over, but like in so many times in pop culture, because there was almost, I mean, she was whimpering and crying, but at the same time, the door was locked. So you think there's a safety here.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that he's breaking all conventional rules. He's going to just bust through the fucking door.
He's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, which is like so unheard of. You're like, wait, what? No, that's not fair. She got the locked door. The video game rules say if I get to the safe point, I'm fine.
Right. So yeah, I love that scene, and I love her like stabbing him with the coat hanger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course that scene where he's gone in the end, the final scene of the movie where he's gone.
The one you didn't know was in the movie at first.
I forget. I get my Halloween sometimes like in terms of what happens in them. I get them they get a little runny.
This isn't spoilers for 2,
we did this.
But there was an inconsistency with the ending of the film, the beginning of the next film.
Yeah, I think that I literally think that's why I have the issue.
So in the beginning of 2, he actually falls out of the front of the house, not the back of the house.
I think that might be. I think that literally is why I have that like
the consistency
problem.
The inconsistency was because of the blocking issues they had with shooting the movie. So they shot that whole scene not realizing that they couldn't use it, but the thing is they had already given up that part of the set. Well, they moved on to other things, so they just like, we have to fucking use it. We can't afford to go back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Kind of weird. That's just how it happens. But if you don't point it out, you really can't tell because the front of the house and the back of the house looks about the same. But I see why that could confuse you.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget that he gets up and like.
He also gets 7 shots in the sequel, but 6 shots in the first one. But then the whole movie runs around like, I shot him 6 times. Was that pretty good? I felt like that was a good.
That's pretty good.
Thanks, man.
I liked it.
Yeah. Bridget, what was your favorite scene?
I really liked the her stabbing him with the knitting needle.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
That was a little.
You as a person who knits and does all those things, I'm sure you were like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That needle came to play.
I'm like, I could fuck someone up with that. But then also it was
like if you really want to get into it, like the feminine stereotype of like knitting and
stab that motherfucker with a needle.
Yeah.
If we really want to go on that level of it,
good fucking point.
Yeah. But like at first I was just like, is that all it took to bring him down? What the fuck? Also, I'm like, he's a possum, dude.
Also, like Bridget having seen this movie, but being like, is that all it takes?
It was a really long time since I've seen it. It's been like 2 years.
Been that long. It has been 2 years. Fun fact. That was like what? Our 3rd date?
Yeah.
And tomorrow, well, hold on, what time is it? It's 11:25. In 30 minutes, it will be mine and Bridget's anniversary.
In 35 minutes.
What a time.
So that's a fun fact for you.
Congrats.
Adorable.
Bridget said, I've been telling people you're my girlfriend. And I was like, okay, I guess I am then.
That's literally how it happened. And I've been like, I don't know how to ask her out. I'm like, I kind of had been calling you my girlfriend to other people, but like
kind of.
at work, Yeah.
Because
I was like testing it out. And these people really didn't care about my life. So like
you're like my girlfriend, and then like move your eyebrows around, begging somebody to ask.
Girlfriend. She's got skin and she breathes and she's alive. Wow.
Also, she's in a different school though. You don't know her.
I think Logan's gonna explode if he doesn't get a safe favorite scene too.
I don't explode. I'm fine.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying.
I just wanted to say happy anniversary, Bridget.
Happy almost anniversary, babe. And then I also brought her food. And
Oh, that's
we ate,
cute.
and then we laid in her bed, and I was
said?
like, I've been telling people you're my girlfriend. And she's
And
like,
you were like,
well,
I have this top sheet, and she went,
No, it was my
laughed.
bed, bitch. We didn't have a top sheet on the motherfucker.
oh, you didn't know.
that's what I'm saying. She brought over a top sheet, and you were like,
And they're like, get that shit out of my house.
Right.
This is my good Christian home.
Oh
But-
God.
Yeah. It's a good time. Like, October is a great
Yeah?
time.
is it time for me to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please.
October is much like November, but kind of like September as well.
October is a month that has days in it.
Yeah. 31. Anyway, wow.
Most years.
Okay,
what's
so
your
I have a
favorite scene?
couple of favorite scenes, but I think I have to narrow it down to one just for the sake of saying it's my favorite. Is the actual first cinematic interaction between Michael and Loomis when he shoots him.
Yeah.
It's the first time Frankenstein met up with his monster, like the whole film. You can't really count the nurse scene because he literally jumps on the car, breaks the window open, gets in the car, and Loomis literally.
It's interesting that you say like Frankenstein meets with his monster, like the idea that Loomis made Michael the way that he was.
I think the argument is that there was only one thing in Michael's life that was regular. There's only one like stimulating thing in his life. And I'm not saying that's Loomis's fault that the way he is. But he definitely was the only person who could have changed him or determined him to be a different way. So I
Yeah.
feel like because of that, even though it might not be Loomis's fault, that's why he feels such responsibility.
Right. Because he
Even
feels
though-
like he could have changed it.
You can argue that he never had the chance to change him, but he was the only person who would.
Right.
That's why a lot of people blame him as well.
yeah.
It's unfair.
I
but
don't
it's-
blame him.
Yeah, I
Me,
was gonna say, I don't
either. But
think-
you could see him. He looks at Michael like, this is my responsibility to put Michael down. I mean, think about how much he goes through, because Michael's not targeting Loomis. Michael's almost like, who the fuck is he? Like, he knows him, but he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Like this is not.
But Loomis feels a need to go out of his way to put himself in danger to stop him because he feels a responsibility. It's his monster. It's his thing that he created. He
Right.
feels.
I was gonna say, or in his head he did.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people who like work with people with issues like that, they feel like a responsibility, you know, even if there's nothing they could do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think we should rate the bitch.
9 out of 10.
What'd you say?
9 out of 10.
Listen.
9 out of 10. I'm sorry, I was just joking. I was getting more and more incoherent.
9 out of 10.
Fuck you.
That's
10
what
out
I'm
of
gonna-
10. I love this movie.
This is literally an 11 out of fucking 10. This
Really?
movie is one of the things that got me into watching movies, and it's fucking great. No matter how corny some of the acting is, this movie is timeless. It's perfect.
And I mean, if you think about this movie, like, this movie's cultural impact, like, you can ask a kid, like, we could walk outside. I'm sure we could find a kid on your fucking street outside right now because they're hooligans. Like, I could ask a kid and I could ask, like, you know, have you seen the original Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween? And he would say, I don't know who John Carpenter is, lady. Also,
Yeah.
why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
And then I could say,
Also, it's 11:30 at night.
right. Why
But
am I
you
on the
say-
street?
you say
But then
you
if
know
I
who
say, do you know who
Michael
Michael Myers is?
Myers?
And he'd be like, yeah, now get away from me. You're a
Yeah,
stranger.
They're
Yeah.
like he's like Jason. That's what everyone was saying.
He's like Jason.
Or they'll hear about Friday the 3rd. They'll hear about Halloween. They'll be like, yeah,
Like-
Jason's in
He'd be
that.
like, yeah.
And that was the biggest mistake that Jason has such a synonymous first name, whereas Michael, you need the whole deal. You need the
Right.
first and last name. But still, I mean, he is culturally significant.
Yeah.
Like people know who he is. People know about these movies, even if you haven't even seen them.
Did other people play Jason as children?
Play Jason, you mean? What do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
No.
Oh, like somebody chase you around.
Oh, we called it
Neighborhood.
Psycho in my neighborhood.
Okay, like primarily
Yeah.
like in like with the kids that would hang out at my house, it would be that we actually had this Jason mask. Like for some reason that was like intrinsically part of it. And like the person who was Jason would wear the mask and he like you would count to a certain number. And then the people would hide. And you would always play this at night outside, so like they couldn't see you. You're moving in the darkness. And they would hide or whatever, and then Jason would have to try to like find and kill them but Jason couldn't run. That was like also part of it. Like you're not allowed to run.
Even though
if you're
Jason's
Jason.
the one who like teleports, like Michael's the one who doesn't run.
Right.
Jason doesn't really run except for the remake, but he like teleports places.
Right.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But I would love to review all three of the big the big three, like all of their movies. I want to review the Nightmares and the Fridays.
I really want to do Nightmare on Elm Street because I love it.
Yeah.
I like though I like Halloween a lot.
Nightmare on Elm
better.
Street 2 is really something.
Yeah, I like Halloween. Like that's my favorite horror movie franchise. But I really like A Nightmare on Elm Street. I really love the first one.
Yeah, the first one's really great. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick pause. And,
We're gonna go watch Halloween 2.
1981 or 1980 is what they call it now, because there's actually 2 Halloween 2s. There's
Yeah,
three
right.
Halloween 2s, but there's the other Halloween 2 is Halloween 2018.
There's so many,
Alright.
dude.
All right, we'll be back.
All right.
Bada bing.
Bye.
And we're back.
Hello again.
Hello.
We haven't been gone very long, but we're
How's it
back
going,
now.
guys?
I mean, to them, we haven't been gone very long. To us, we went
been-
and watched a whole nother movie.
And like also like did more than that as well.
Yeah, also had like a couple days.
And like lived lives and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Went to class.
Well, you did that.
I mean, yeah, I was saying that some of us did that. Madison did that, sort of.
I didn't do that.
Madison
You
went
did
to
training
work.
for your job.
It's not class.
Well, I called it class, so.
Well, on to more interesting topics.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. Anyways, Halloween
2, directed by Rick Rosenthal.
Mm-hmm.
From the first film, Rick Rosenthal worked very closely with Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. And upon the studio begging them, especially Mustafa Akkad smartly, saying, hey, I know you guys want to turn this into an anthology series where every
But don't.
Halloween you make... Well, no, here's the thing. They actually didn't really say that. What they said was, finish with Michael, because people want an ending. And then do the anthology thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought would have been a really cool idea. But obviously, Michael is so significant in pop culture.
That it could never happen.
Which we'll get into that third movie, because after
Yeah.
this, we're going to watch it and then come back and talk about it.
And famously, John Carpenter did not want to make this movie.
Well,
he was not fucking with it.
Somewhat. So he definitely didn't want to direct it. He said that outright. And then his
Right.
other thing was, the studio was pushing for origin. The studio was saying, give Michael a reason for doing what he's done. So, spoilers ahead. One night, while John Carpenter was plastered, which he says is the truth, he was very drunk when he decided this. He made Michael the brother of Laurie Strode, much like Luke Skywalker discovering that Darth Vader, spoilers, is his dad.
Yeah.
I like that you say spoilers, even though that movie has been out since like the 70s.
I mean, this one's
Hey,
been
Franny,
out.
have you ever seen The Empire Strikes Back?
No, I mean, but I knew.
But have you ever seen The Empire Strikes Back?
No, but
So it might be a spoiler.
But I knew. I think
Fair
Did
enough.
you know that it happened
Culturally,
in that
everyone
movie?
knows.
no.
But I say spoilers as a joke, but also you never know. You
Yeah,
never
you
fucking
never
know.
know.
This person might have woken up for the first time today, and who knows? Maybe it was like an ancient creature that awoke this today and missed all the pop culture
Okay,
things.
that just
It has
reminds
no
me.
idea.
Ancient creature. I'm glad you decided to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, dude, please sub,
Thanks.
please, dear God.
That just reminds me of the movie that Logan and I watched the other night, Jason X. The
Jason
ancient
X, baby.
creature.
But we're not here to talk
We're
about
not
Jason.
here to talk about that.
Out of the big three, there's only one person who holds my heart, and that's Michael Myers. He's the best of the big three. I don't care what anybody has to say. That's my strong stance. Freddy can go fuck himself. I like him and all, but he can go fuck himself. The same goes for Jason. Anyway.
Like, why was that me on the playground in 6th grade?
But like when you're a horror fan, and I think I'm definitely, just as much as I'm a cinema fan, I'm also like big into horror. There is like an unspoken rule that you need to pick a favorite out of the big three. You can't just like them all equally. You have to pick one. One is your favorite.
Like my mom with her children.
Oh.
It's true. And Bridget, like if I asked Bridget who the favorite was and we said at the same time, we would say the same name. Like, it's
Let's
that
test it
obvious.
out. 3, 2, 1.
Anna.
I love how it's not you.
No, of course it's not me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course, if you were my kid, you'd be my favorite.
Okay, like, listen. They're Republicans.
Wait, hold on. Wait, make sure you want to say what you're going to say.
What?
I didn't know if you were about to go into like the total like mudslinging in like a second.
No, I'm just saying, like, they're Republicans. I'm a communist. I'm gay, which is not an issue. It's like not a household issue,
It's
but
not.
like it already sets me apart from the others. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're in a 10 percentile. You know, you're already separated.
I'm like, I went. You know, I went to college and then I didn't use my degree for a while, and my mom wanted me to not go into college for what I was going into. I just have the odds stacked. I'm built different, you know? Like, I think every family has like the one who's kind of different, and like that's me, and I've accepted it.
Okay, so I think for most families that's true, but my family is like the most wacky. Like, I don't know how to, like, I'm not saying that like we're special, but we're all, if there's like an odd one out, we are all individually odd ones out. Like,
I
Fair
would agree
enough.
with your
we're
family.
not normal. Like, none of us are normal. And then these two don't understand because they're the only children. So
I mean, I'm the only child, but I still feel like I'm the least favorite.
I don't even want to dig
Can't
into
talk
that.
about that. But no, I think that
joking.
like I think that those are the two extremes of having a family with siblings, like multiple children. Either it's that like everyone's insane, or there's like one weird one. It's like
One gay one. It's 1 in 3.
it is. It
That's a
really
real
is. So
statistic.
it's one gay one, and like
So I'm
that's-
looking at my siblings and I'm like, guys, someone's got to answer. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm not gonna out whoever.
Somebody's gotta answer the
Somebody's
call.
already answered that call. I'm just not gonna out them here.
Yeah, I mean, so one brave tribute has to step forward and be the gay sibling.
Anyway,
That's fine.
speaking of
Yeah,
siblings
like,
that
it's
are possibly gay and or straight,
Michael Myers could be gay. We really don't know. We don't. We don't get to know that for him.
I think he's just impotent.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
and he doesn't seem to like. I don't think he could like catch a dick. I don't think he'd let somebody do that to him. So I don't know what sexual, like, I know that's not all there is sexuality, but I don't know how we could configure a sexuality for him.
I don't want to.
You know what though?
That's
He
like-
loves looking at tits though.
He does.
He does.
But
he's-
like, you can be gay and be a tit. You know what? This isn't the point.
I think
is not the
universally,
point.
no, I think universally everybody loves a good tit.
I
That's what
agree
was
with
saying.
that. I think
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I would agree
Yeah.
with that. Like, you
Yeah.
can always appreciate a little tit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
No matter what your orientation is.
That's the thing that can bring us all together. Whether you're,
We all
Whether
at
you're-
one point enjoyed a tit.
The country is divided, but we all love tits.
like whether you're black or you're white or you're Republican or you're Democrat or you're gay or you're normal.
Straight?
I was trying to make a
You're
joke.
gay or you don't matter to me.
I was trying to make a joke where I would be like, you're normal or you're straight or like whatever. And, we can all unite over the love of tit.
Anyway, can we please get back to Halloween 2, directed by Rick Rosenthal?
Unite, tit, we stand.
It shouldn't have made me laugh as hard as it did.
Sorry.
That was good. I like that.
I'll shut up.
That was
Anyways.
fun.
Back up. I think
She's broken Logan.
Everybody else can talk. I'm good.
So we were talking about how John Carpenter didn't really want to make this movie.
Yeah.
And
So
he didn't want to make this movie this way.
yeah, I was
And
about to say it's not so much that he was totally against making it. In fact, Deborah Hill mentions that there was almost an excitement because of obviously the success from Halloween 1.
right.
But the issue is the studio wanted certain things, and also Carpenter and Hill were really set on doing an anthology series.
yes.
So when Halloween 2 came around, I think John Carpenter, he did make, the only thing he made sure that was in the script was, obviously he wrote the script, but the one thing he made sure was done in the movie is that the atmosphere felt the same, which Rick
Yeah.
Rosenthal fucking killed. That movie plays like it's the same movie.
Right.
I mean, it really, especially like the quad scene where like he's in the center of town and like it's like it feels like
Yeah.
a one shot.
Yeah.
That is so 1978 Halloween. Like that is like
Yeah.
that feels so much like the same movie.
And I think, like, we were talking a little bit how the movie reveals that Michael is Laurie Strode's brother.
Yeah.
And like to my understanding, that's something that John Carpenter has never like really been happy that he did. Like he's always kind of
Well, so he's going back and forth. That's the thing about John Carpenter. For the most part, I feel like he feels that way for sure now.
Yeah.
But around the time that H2O came out, he loved how H2O, even though he wasn't a part of the filmmaking, he said he really liked how they wanted to make it essentially a family squabble film.
Yeah.
He liked that idea. So, you know, the thing about John Carpenter is that he's a great director, but he very, very rarely sticks to one opinion forever.
That's true. Yeah, and I mean, like, he didn't direct this movie, but it still has that same kind of feel. And I mean, Rosenthal was like his pick. Like, it's the person he wanted.
Rosenthal almost directed the first film.
Yeah, it's the person he wanted to do it. And so
And then
I think that attributes to that. Though, I will say I was reading something that, like, Rosenthal wasn't entirely happy with the way this film turned out.
So
there was like more like gore than he would have wanted.
Yeah, so that's
and I
another
think that's
thing.
also a studio thing.
Yeah, Mustafa came forward. I think it wasn't Dimension yet. Maybe it was Dimension already. But he came forward and was like, "Hey, there's the thing is in the time between 1978 and 1981, I believe is when it came out. Maybe in 1980.
I think it came out in 81.
81.
I think.
There was a lot of movies in between then, of which took from Halloween, and what they added was intense gore. So they thought, okay, we need to match up with that. And then Rick Rosenthal didn't like that, and neither did John Carpenter, to be frank. They thought this is going away from the source material, and this is going away from what the first film was.
Right, because the first Halloween is not very gore heavy at all.
It's not.
I mean, it really, that's what makes it almost scarier for me is that.
Yeah, you don't get to see really what happens.
And so let's talk about what happens in the film real fast. So the idea is it picks up kind of off where the first one, although they fucked up and they shot the wrong side of the house for the sequel, but it's fine.
We're just ignoring it. Like, you just have to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah,
It's
and
fine.
so he falls out of the window, Michael, because he got shot a whole bunch. He got shot 6 times. Although if you watch it, he actually got shot 7 times in the sequel, but it's fine. He shot him 6 times, and then he falls off. He falls out of the window.
You just keep saying it 6 times.
Yeah, I shot him 6 times. He said it like 8 times. He said 6 times like 8 times. And what's
I
fucked
think when
up?
we were watching this movie, somebody said, like, what is his accent right now? And we were just like
That's how he talks.
dude.
No, I feel like his voice changes so much. I couldn't believe he wasn't like pretending to talk.
No.
Like,
No, he's from. So if you think about how old he is, think about what age movies he'd be in when he was younger. Remember, he's that old in 1978. So when he was a young film actor, they did.
Oh yeah, they did.
If you've ever
like
seen
that.
the show Hollywood, they talk
Yeah.
about how there's like a fake accent.
Yeah, there's a movie accent.
Yeah,
it's
movie accent.
God, there's a name for it.
Yeah,
I can't think of it.
I can't think of it either.
Yeah, that's gonna drive me insane. But
Upper
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's like in the old movies when everyone talks like this.
well, by golly, but the fucking every
It's
time.
like you see in the movies. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Oh my, yeah, all that shit. So that's how he talked, especially since he was like kind of,
Because that's what you're trained to do.
and also he was kind of in like the monster horror movies a little bit when he was younger. So, but that is his voice though. That's why he got in those
That's
movies.
nutso to me.
Because that is his voice. That's why he
doesn't-
got those jobs, because he didn't have to fake it. That's really what he sounded
it
like.
doesn't seem like a real voice.
Listen,
it is.
you're not going
I
to sit
know.
here and disgrace Donald Pleasance. He's one of the best things about these movies.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He's amazing.
he's great.
And might I add that he was there until he died. He was in every sequel until he literally could not be anymore. And he tried to be in 3, but there was a scheduling conflict, even though it wouldn't be Dr. Loomis in 3. But Jamie Lee Curtis in 3. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about the plot. Right, I was trying to get to that point. Now, when Michael falls, for some reason, there's an outline of him in the grass.
Yeah, I noticed
very
that.
strange.
They did a reshoot where they explained that it was blood, but like, come on, it looks so bad.
Didn't look like blood to me, but
No,
that's fine.
but they're like, I think somebody in post production was like, why the fuck is he like literally outlined in the grass?
Again, probably not meant to be seen in HD.
No. I mean,
Right?
that was a problem that people found with it upon test screening.
Gotcha.
But so essentially, Michael's out there and he's doing shit. He's acting a fool. He's going.
He's acting.
He's wildin'.
he is wild.
No, he for real. He goes into the neighbor's house. He steals their knife and he leaves blood all over the sandwich. Real fucked up. Not cool.
Right, like, that's fucking gross.
And then he kills the neighbor girl for no reason. Really, I don't know why he killed her. Really, he didn't even need to be around her.
He was just wildin'.
Yeah, exactly. It was almost like he like like it was like when your little brother loses at a video game and like throws the controller. Like Michael was like, "Fucking didn't kill. I'm gonna go kill this bitch next door."
Right.
Like it was like, what the fuck?
It's like in my undisclosed town I used to live in. Two I think either early high schoolers or late middle schoolers shot each other in like the foot.
What?
And on the
so good.
on the report, when it was reported, they said for the reason is they were just thugging around.
Michael's out there thugging around.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm having an aneurysm. What the fuck?
But anyway,
Me, whenever anybody tries to like ask me why I did something or explain my actions, I'm just thugging around.
anyway, guys.
I have a question about that. Like, if he was just thugging around.
Wait,
like,
the guy in her story or the guy in the movie?
No. The Michael.
Michael, yes.
If he was just thugging around, he was fucking around. He just was off the shits, I guess. Why not kill that old couple?
Well, I'll keep it plain and simple for you. No reason at all. I guess because he got the knife without any issue.
I think he does specifically target like teen girls though.
No, because that changes.
I mean, yeah, but at least at
even
this
in
point.
even in this film that changes though, because he kills. We'll get there. The doctor in this film was in no way in the way of Michael, and he killed the shit out of him.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
What it really was is he got the knife without any issues. And then the thing with next door is it was supposed to let us know that he needed to go to the hospital. So they heard it on the radio. So he heard the radio. So now he knows to go to the hospital.
But that wasn't even when he heard it on the radio.
Yeah,
I thought it was when the kid was walking
He heard
around
it again, but the reason why we see the scene where he hears on the radio there, and also we see that whole scene is that nurse walks by and mentions where she works and he follows her.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
So
At
least that's the insinuation. Obviously, it hasn't been spoken. There's messiness to this film. But then the other thing is that we have the sheriff riding around with Loomis. Sheriff finds out his daughter died. Obviously blames Loomis in a really fucked up way. But the reason I feel they did that, even though they won't admit it, is because if they had Loomis trying to convince a sheriff that he was trying to convince all night earlier in the first film that Michael's the big deal, that eventually it'd get old and that we wouldn't believe that the sheriff doesn't fucking believe him anymore. So they had to give us a different
Especially
new
given
sheriff.
his daughter is dead.
They had to give us a new sheriff for him to say the same shit at.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason. And then, obviously we eventually roll around to them looking for Michael in the streets, and they end up hitting Ben Tramer with a truck, the boy that she was into in the first movie.
And it explodes.
It does.
Later leads to Michael following What's-Her-Face. They go to the hospital. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Goes through the hospital, kills everybody one by one, hunts her down. That's where it gets really conventional. But I want to talk about some of the most insane shots, though. For instance, he literally stabbed a woman in the face. It was in the eye or in the face. I think it was in the face with a hypodermic needle and murdered her.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
know how
remember
that
that.
manages to kill her, but
Exactly. Or he lifts a woman up, which this is actually a cool kill scene, but when you think about it, there's issues with it. He lifts a woman up with a scalpel stab. Off the ground, and then her shoes fall off.
Yeah.
Basically recreating the Bob kill, but with an extra little panache. He's stepping up his game, baby. He wants the big three's out
it's
there
all
now.
about growth.
Yeah. Well, the big three exists now, so he's got to show up for work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
He's got to
And
make sure they know.
That's the whole thing with this movie is that, something that I think Rosenthal said was he felt like he had this really well-paced movie that was much more of a slow burn, and sort of in the way that the first Halloween was, and then they decided that they needed more blood and guts, and so that's what they did. And I mean, I would agree that I think this movie has some pacing issues. And
then also, you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to correct you on. Rick Rosenthal was not actually the first pick.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The first pick for director was actually the guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he went on to direct Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. And the reason why he didn't want to direct 2 is because he was under the impression that he was going to get to do Season of the Witch for 2. That was the idea.
Makes sense.
But Rick Rosenthal, he pretty much came into it like the redheaded stepchild of this film, directed what could have been a great movie, and still is great in some regards. But the studio and the need for gore and the need for origin really messed with this movie. And I think people remember it a lot more favorably than it actually is. Because, I mean, there is a cat attack in this movie. You know? Like, there's... Someone gets shot with a needle filled with nothing. There's a lady murdered in a hot tub. It's not like... It's not high art like the first film is, but a lot of people will give it that.
I think this movie is, like... To me, this movie is pretty good. It's like it. It's pretty
good. I mean,
yeah.
It still looks really good.
There's stuff to like about it, and I don't think that, you know, it's bad or anything. But I think, like I was saying before, I think this movie has some pacing problems. Like... because it turns towards the conventional, especially for the time towards the conventional. I was kind of bored. Like, we're following people around that I don't care about.
It's funny because before we watched it, I'm not trying to like call you out or anything because I think everybody does this. Before we watched it, you were saying you really, really liked it. And I think you still do, but I think now really you see what I was talking about before.
Well, and especially when you watch it right after the first one, which is so thrilling. Yeah. Like, when you watch this one directly after it, it does have, like, some issues in the middle where it's just like, I don't really care about this girl and her... this skeevy EMT guy, and like they're fucking in this hot tub, and like like I don't care about that, and I don't understand like why are we doing this.
And the reason why it doesn't work as well as the first movie's extra kills is because you liked those teenage girls. Even at least you were trying. Like, some people didn't, but I found them to be charming and funny. So even though they were kind of shitheads when they died, there was an upsetting element to it.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I liked Annie.
And they all had their own, like, they all had, like, you know, it was like a friend group of people
definitive personalities.
Yeah, and people who were, like, hanging out together. So these were, like, Laurie's friends that she was seeing. And so you felt like they were getting closer and closer to Laurie. Mm-hmm. Whereas it just seems like he's just kind of running around this hospital killing people indiscriminately.
Thugging around,
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, I don't care about this.
And here's the thing. I feel like the best version of this movie... it really needs an edit, and all they need to do is edit out the classroom stuff,
that's
the federal marshal stuff, and the storyline about them being related. And what's really great is that this movie still totally flows if you take all that shit out.
My main thing is with this movie is I like a sequel or part of like a I like a sequel that you could watch and it can stand alone. Yeah, you'll miss some things, but it can stand alone as a movie, and I feel like this is not a strong enough thing where, like, if I came in and this was the first Halloween movie I saw, I wouldn't I wouldn't really be as interested in seeing the rest.
Bridget, this was your first Halloween movie, right?
It was. I was waiting for my moment, my like a little in, you know.
That's your in, baby.
It is my in. So the first time I watched Halloween 2, any Halloween movie, actually, I think this is like my first slasher.
Wow.
Because my parents, they love horror movies, but they hate slashers.
Understandable.
And so
not to me, but
no, I love slashers.
But I see
too,
why people don't. But I love them. They're
like my favorite. And I like a good psychological thriller, but like slashers
the best is when
sometimes.
It's both.
You're right. Mm-hmm. But I watched it at a birthday party, like my 7th or 8th grade year.
Yeah.
And I just saw bits and pieces of it because we were like in and out of the room. We also watched Justin Bieber on Silent Library, which was a whole thing. But I mean, just to set the scene, if you will.
And things you do in 8th grade.
Things you do, right? Yeah. And we all huddled around
Hawthorne Heights and hanging out.
Yeah, probably we did. We were all huddled around this like old ass laptop watching clips of Justin Bieber on Silent Library. But anyway, it was good. It was spooky. It was
Silent
like,
Library?
No. It was neither of those things.
Me more than
guys,
libraries.
in the comments, this is important. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Bridget, but I feel like this is important. Good. Can you tell us if Justin Bieber had to eat his own vomit in Silent Library? Not in real life. I'm sure at some point it's happened, but I mean in the show. Anyway,
right.
Like I believe that happened on the show, but like, did he really do it though? I can't imagine that MTV producers are making young Justin Bieber eat his own vomit.
He wasn't that young, was he?
He was like 16.
That's not that young.
Yeah, but younger.
That's pretty young.
I mean,
I just can't imagine
that's
that
how I
actually
remember
Mila
it
Kunis
happening.
can pretend to make out with Ashton Kutcher at 14. I think Justin Bieber can eat his own vomit. I'm just saying.
That's how I remember
real.
it happening.
That's something real.
So,
to me.
But yeah, sorry.
So I don't know.
But yeah, so it was spooky. for what it was. I had never seen a slasher, so that was like really interesting.
Yeah.
So watching this, I got like very vivid flashbacks of being like laying on the carpet of this house, this apartment, and like watching like Lori run through the halls of the hospital.
Yeah.
And it made little sense to me, but I enjoyed it. And then also that was the next morning we watched Saw for the first time, and that was the first time I ever saw Saw.
Seesaw.
Yeah.
First time you see Saw. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this movie could not exist, and I'd be okay with that.
Damn, I don't know if I'd go that far.
I kind of like the like sort of hospital horror
You see, and it's
thing.
I like the way that Rob Zombie did Halloween 2
hospital scene, yeah.
better, and did I like the storyline better. I like that you get to see Lori like after like dealing with the trauma of
we won't talk too much about it.
I won't talk too much about it, but I like that angle, and I like how he paid tribute to that. Like I feel like this movie would have been better if it was like kind of like contained, you know, like maybe
that's how I feel too. Like there's like all this like extra shit where it's like I wish that we were just focusing on.
Let me be devil's advocate for a second, because I feel like this movie, all it has is that it's contained. Like I feel like that's all it gives.
I don't mean
It's all
contained in like in so much of a space,
so
but like
small.
But like I wish it was more focused on like him chasing down Lori instead of Lori having this like weird romance with the EMT, and then we've got him killing other people. I'm like, if we could just get focused in on that, and like maybe he has to kill other people along the way who get in the way of it. Well, I think I would like that better. Because I think the best scenes in this movie are when they're like in the hospital, and like there's a scene where they're like kind of in like the dark. I want to call it like a stock room or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking about, dark room? What do you mean?
It's like a really dark space, and there's like all these shelves, and they're like he's like kind of chasing her through there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I would call it like a stock room. I guess that's what it is.
It's like a back room.
I think it was like a medical records thing. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, but like those are, to me, are like the best scenes in that ending where like she finally, you know, like they finally meet and are able to fight him off and all that stuff.
So let me ask you this. There was another version that Deborah Hill had talked about that her and John Carpenter talked about. And it was essentially they were still going to do the big reveal of the sister, but the idea was that Michael was going to be indiscriminately attacking everyone on Halloween night outside the hospital anyway, and you think that he's like basically moved on from it, and then there's a turn and he ends up in her hospital room. Would that have been a better film?
I don't think so.
I almost think, I mean, like if it was more of like him making his way to Lori, and like Lori also gets to find out.
I find that interesting, and it's not that I disagree with you. I just wonder why we are okay with, because I feel the same way you do. So it's not like I'm saying you shouldn't feel this way. Why is it we're okay with him being, I guess you could say, like obsessed with Lori, but then when there's like a reason behind it, we're really deterred from that. I guess it's from a part of it like losing his anonymity a little bit, but at the same time, I just wonder why we hate the sister storyline so much, but we want the movies to focus so much on him hunting her.
No, I don't. I don't hate the sister storyline.
Okay, here's my feeling
I don't
of
hate
it.
that.
I think that if we're going to do the sister thing, then we should we should be spending more time with Lori.
Yeah.
But like I personally
But if we put her in peril for an hour and a half, I mean, eventually you're gonna be like, the bitch should be dead. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know about peril. I want to see her like roughing him up.
Well,
her.
But at the end of the day, though, Michael puts people in peril. That's his.
Well, yeah.
That's what he offers as a cinematic like element. That's what he offers.
I
want to
see her find out that.
Which like we do get to see that, but it just is
it's not good enough in my opinion. I agree.
It's not.
Like she should have.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
And like, why is she so okay right now? Like. Bitch.
Well, I don't know if she's okay.
I think she's heavily sedated as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I just don't find her like this adaptation super believable. Like,
I mean, the original.
I was gonna say this isn't an adaptation.
Sorry, my bad. The original. Like, why is she so okay with every event that just happened?
Drugs.
That she's like willing to flirt with this one guy and like it's supposed to be the same fucking night.
I don't know.
You know what? I kind of side with Franny. Even if she was heavily sedated, Is she really gonna care about like this hot EMT?
Like all of her friends just died. They
You know?
can't get
Well,
a
she
hold of her
doesn't. She
parents.
doesn't know. Like, well, she knows that they're all dead.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know that he's still an issue. She thinks he's fucking
But
dead.
still, that's a lot.
I mean, is she like I don't know how much she's like flirting.
I was like, I don't know how much she's flirting.
Yes,
She
absolutely.
is.
I don't remember.
He goes, you want a Coke? She's like, that'd be great, thank you. Like, all like, I'm gonna fucking blow you for that Coke.
like, why
Thank you.
aren't you
Yeah, I guess
crying?
you're
Why
right.
aren't
Yeah,
you
she's
shaking
like-
in a corner? Like, why aren't you having a breakdown?
Also, like
her
again,
character is just so weak sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
no, not physically weak or mentally weak. The character development is weak.
I wish she had a little bit more to do in this movie. Or like not more to do, but like I wish that like we would have gotten, if we're gonna do the sister thing, I wish we would get into that a little bit more about what
Yeah.
exactly that means.
And why do we have to waste our time dealing with him going to the elementary school where he stabbed a picture and wrote
Right.
and they mispronounce what the word is on the chalkboard?
and like what was the whole Sam Hain thing even
Sam
for?
Hain, but it's pronounced differently. It's like my issue with the Sam Hain bullshit is that would insinuate that Michael was like brushing up on his like literature before.
Why even bring that up?
Like
it
Michael
doesn't-
Michael ate a fucking dog. Why are we?
Yeah, why are we doing this?
The Sam Hain shit was so insignificant to me that I forgot that happened in this
like,
movie.
and I don't understand why that's included here.
Right?
I will say though, they have to in the series. They have to name somebody Sam Hain. They have to.
It's
That
so
would be
like
great.
it feels like a couple concepts were like just shoved into this movie.
Yeah, it was like why
Well,
give
that's because
why
it
give
was.
him
I
this,
know,
like
but
why
I don't
give
like
him this
it.
additional Sam Hain element backstory when you've already got the sister thing
Well,
going?
because
Yeah.
that they have to give the reason why he's trying to murder his sister. That's a part of it.
I
Like
mean,
that
but
Sam
I'm-
Hain is directly involved with why he's trying to kill her.
I guess, but I would be willing to accept that he just has some kind of like resentment about her.
But then what is
too.
the thing? That's the biggest issue though. Is that's not good enough origin for them. They wanted full explanations and like
right, and
write
it's like
outs.
you don't need that.
But that's the issue
That's
with the
what
whole
they
film.
want.
That was the
Yeah.
whole issue in general, and that's why the Sam Hain thing is in there.
right.
I feel like if it was up to John Carpenter, not only would the not the Sam Hain thing be in there, but the sister thing wouldn't have been in there. But that's just how it went.
That's just
But
not.
But we cannot deny that it led to some great stuff later.
Yeah, I mean,
H2O is awesome.
I
Like-
think it's very clear that this movie was not planned when you're watching it. Like was not the original plan from the beginning.
and fact is, this is one thing I'll give Frani. The Rob Zombie films handle the family issues much better.
They do.
It's much more believable.
Yeah.
And you get motive and you get an actual character out of Lori.
Now, Lori is a real character. I don't.
yeah, I, think
don't
Lori is a
agree
real
with you there.
character.
I think I don't like how perfect Lori is.
She's
And-
not perfect.
not.
At least in the
She's-
first two, she is.
No, she's like frumpy and dumpy.
No, but
And
they
like-
make her so mentally.
And like
she's so
self-hatred.
she's passive.
and self-hatred.
they make her so mentally sound during all this that it's unbelievable.
I don't
I
see what
wonder
you're
if
saying.
like
I don't
she's
agree.
in
I
an
think she's
element
like
of
freaking
shock.
out all the time.
She's sedated the whole second movie.
I mean,
That's
I
why there's
guess.
not much emotion from it.
And
What was
like
that,
she's
Bridget?
probably also in shock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I mean,
get
Because
what
it
you're
all
saying.
happened the same
Shock.
day.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
like,
and, like, I
you
think-
don't process that shit always like right away.
Yeah.
Like I think you see you like with Lori, she starts out as a very like passive character who kind of takes shit from people, but by the end of the film, like she just kicked Michael Myers' ass as best she could, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about the great, like the absolute, it would have been a very perfect ending if they had ended it the way they planned. Because for one, there's all these motifs of fire throughout the whole second film. There's like Ben Tramer lighting on fire and everything. There's tons of notes of fire. Sorry, I almost freaking hiccuped right there.
You all right?
Are you
I was like,
okay?
You gonna make it?
I like hiccuped in the middle of me talking. I was like,
Is it fire?
But then at the beginning of the first film, you see him looking through the mask, and all he has is his like very narrowed vision, right? And then
Yeah.
she literally shoots him in the eyes, both eyes,
Yes.
and blood run down the face with like the blood tears. But also, he literally can't see through that narrowed vision anymore, and that's when he was defeated.
Yeah.
I love that as full circle, and I love the fact that Loomis essentially gave himself up to kill Michael.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do like that.
And
I'm
that,
not saying I hate this movie. There's parts of it I really like.
And you know, interesting little fact, they had to start making rubber zippers on burn suits after this film because the stunt guy actually was burned by the metal zippers in his fire suit. Very, very bad. So and that's when
rip
Hollywood
him.
started making it.
I mean, I don't
a
think he
thing.
died or anything.
He didn't die, but
still,
I mean,
rip him. You
you're
know,
you're still mutilated by this fire suit. You got burns all over.
Yeah,
you.
Bridget just said rip like he died. I'm like, he's alive.
no, just,
No, they had
just
to
like
rip that fire suit off him because the zippers were too hot.
Correct.
Hey. Wow, I feel like all the energy sort of drained out of the room for a second there.
Sorry to make light of your issues, sir.
Yeah.
It's also the AC cut off.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
probably
Oh
was.
yeah, it did get quieter in here.
Yeah.
Huh?
But so what else is there to say about 2? The thing about 2 is it's really contained. That's why I thought it was interesting you mentioned it wasn't contained. I think it was too contained, and it almost like didn't do enough for me to have anything stick out.
Yeah, to me, it's like,
Like, I guess the hot tub scene was really brutal to look at.
yeah, like to me, I didn't
really
like that scene
was.
at all.
Whew.
You mean you didn't
We
like
could
it?
literally not have this movie.
You mean
and it'd be
cinematically
fine.
or like for your eyes?
No, for my eyes, I didn't like that woman's skin melting off her face.
But I thought that was pretty good effects.
I mean,
actually.
it was pretty good in terms of like, yeah.
There was one of those classic things where in the first movie we talked about how like the girl who had her tits are like out, like she was like, let's just get on with it, it wasn't a big deal. This girl was very taken back by it, and this is where that story you always hear about where the crew took off their clothes. This happened during that scene with the
Yeah.
hot tub.
Wait, what?
The crew took off their clothes to make her feel more comfortable when they were shooting the scene.
Like all of
That's
them?
nice of
They're all
them.
just naked?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. At least they were like down to their nooks and crannies and whatnot.
That's really nice of them.
That is. I just was like, hold on, what? And I'm like imagining.
And I don't know
like,
if that's the first instance of that
Cameron.
happening, but that's like such a common thing now. So
is it?
yeah,
Like-
people do it with like nervous actors because like,
Yeah.
you think the fucking music guy's gonna care if his dick's out when he's not even on screen? Like, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
I
like
mean,
the guy running the camera, he doesn't care.
Right.
Let it all hang out.
ew.
Don't
Yeah.
judge him.
Judging him, I just didn't like that phrase at that moment. Like usually I'm fine with it, but like at that moment I was like, ew. Like,
But, like-
it gave me a weird mental image.
Like to me, my issue with the movie is like if we're doing the backstory thing and focusing on how Lori and Michael are interconnected, then like why do we have all this needless bullshit in the middle of
Because
it?
it still
You know
has.
what I
It
mean?
still, in my opinion, I feel like the origin story wasn't strong enough on its own.
Right, correct, and that's the issue with it that I take. Is
But
like
the thing is, they couldn't spread this across multiple films because their idea was, it's done. This is the last
Right.
one.
Right, and that's why they
And-
did Season of the Witch.
And I mean, I
after.
don't want to like hold. I want to look at this movie by itself, but then when you think about that sister storyline, like yeah, it's created some great things and like some really good movies, but then also like it puts them in a box. And so I understand why in the new continuity, like they don't want to do that anymore because it does kind of limit a little bit.
Well, it also was so they don't need, because it wasn't just the limitations, but also like what Michael's going to start hunting his great niece. The thing is, they had to start over the continuity anyway, and they
Right.
wanted to use Jamie Lee Curtis to kick that off. But what it's going to turn into is just Michael killing people indiscriminately that aren't at all related to Jamie whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess he has this vendetta against Jamie.
Yeah,
now.
but what I'm saying is now they can do it for however long. They say Halloween Ends will be the last one. My
no, it
fucking
won't.
ass, it'll be the last one.
Of course not.
Like
You
as
just
long
wait
as
till
it's
in
making
20
money.
years when Ari Aster makes his own Halloween.
And you know what? You'll catch me at the theater.
Exactly.
Same.
I will see every one of you there for
Yeah.
Ari Aster's Halloween.
That would be amazing.
That sounds great.
That's a movie we should have got, but it's not.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, I mean, especially when you compare it to other horror sequels, like let's talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 2 for a second. Aside from the fact that it's the gayest movie ever, which is great and all, that movie's really fucking terrible. And the same goes with most sequels to these like big three slasher movies. So at least this sequel is actually pretty good. If it wasn't for the first one being so interconnected with it, like being like literally the same night, I don't know if we would judge it so harshly. It's just the fact that first one is so great.
Right.
And then we're
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
like, this feels like an episode 2, not a movie 2. Like this feels like a continuation. And
I just wish this continuation was written like at the same time as the original, you know?
I mean,
they never wanted to do it.
I
Like, it
know,
was
but
never on the
I wish I
radar.
could go back and like kind of like
Until
Kill Bill
dawn,
1 and
like-
2
I don't want to be
style.
spoilery for you for any or like say anything out of turn, but Rob Zombie did not write his Halloween 2 at the same
I
time as
know.
1. He didn't want to do a second one either.
I know.
So I say that's
I'm saying for this specifically. Like I feel like I might like a second one better if it was written almost like Kill Bill 1 and 2.
So-
Like, it's supposed to be a huge thing.
That's why it's great there's multiple storylines.
Yeah.
You can view Halloween 2 as Halloween H2O. You can view Halloween 2 as Halloween 2018.
Which I guess I haven't really seen all of them yet.
No.
So,
But we got them all, baby.
Yeah.
We're going to watch them all. Don't worry about it. It's my favorite thing. Okay, so what was your guys' favorite scene from this one, though?
Probably, I know it's cheesy and like a little improbable. Well, impossible. But the one with the scalpel.
That's such a great... Yeah, it's iconic, you know? Like, that's a great scene for sure.
Like, do I really believe he could have lifted her up with the scalpel? I don't know. Was it fun to watch? Fuck yeah.
Probably the scene I was talking about before where they're in the like back room with the files and all that stuff. I just think that scene is like, the way it looks is really cool. Like, it looks really cool and dynamic, and like they use the space really well in that scene, and I really like that. I also really like the kid in the beginning with the razor blade in his mouth from his Halloween candy.
So that's just it. By the way, I love that we brought this up. So before there was HD and things like that, you couldn't see that there was a razor blade essentially in his mouth. And the same thing with the thing full of air, the plunger filled with air. These were supposed to be like little jokes made by the filmmaker to like for like the super fans and the people who worked on the movie. But it's not like definitively they wrote that as a part of the film.
But I really enjoy it. I think
But that's
like
what I was
fun
getting to. That I
nod.
was like, that's kind of a fun thing that they did.
The now that we can see them.
Yeah, and it's
Because
kind of
of
and,
HD.
and you see other funny things too. Like, you know, there's a scene I think in this. I think it is the second one where you can see like literal lights reflected in Michael's eyes, like, you know, like the stage lights. Like,
that's funny.
But the thing is, there was so many limitations back then. But they were. I think what's great about the Halloween movies, and it seems like as a whole, this is how it always is that people make these films by committee and have a lot of fucking fun making them. Even this one, which had tons of problems and a lot of interference, people were having like a blast on set.
yeah.
So, and also Jamie Lee Curtis's wig is the worst thing in this
It's
film.
so
Yes.
bad.
I'm gonna.
It really
I
bothered
hate
me.
that. I hate that this is my favorite scene, but I really like this scene, and it was like the only scene I really remembered from this because I'd seen like bits and pieces of it. The fucking sandwich scene.
Yeah, when she's making him a sandwich and everything, like the
Yeah,
wife
the
is making
old-
the sandwich.
Yeah.
No, that is
And
amazing.
the blood on the sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that I love that scene as much as I do.
No, I love that because they put him in shot. That was going to be mine, by the way.
Yeah, I just love. Oh, really? That's funny.
I love the fact that when you get the reverse shot of you see the old man falling asleep in his chair. They show you a whole ass Michael standing in a kitchen behind an old woman stealing a knife. Like they show
that's-
you in frame, and it's really unsettling.
Like, that's scary. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the scariest scene to me almost because, like, holy shit, he is just wholesale in their
which
house.
Halloween 2018 definitely did that, like all over that movie.
Oh, yeah.
They saw that scene and were like, let's just do that to this whole like middle section of this film.
Which I like. I thought that was fun.
So she said my favorite. So what's your favorite? You already said Madison. So
Yeah, I already said.
All right,
Bridget
cool.
already said too.
Well, I feel like we've kind of talked this one out. I don't know how much else there really is to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So what is everybody's ratings?
I give this one. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10.
She said she liked the sequel.
I do. I almost.
No, you don't.
I do like it. I changed my mind. I'm gonna give it a 7. I was originally gonna give it a 7. I was like, maybe that's too high, but no, I'll give it a 7.
That's funny. I was between 6 and 7, and I settled on 6.5.
You can go if you want.
No, I can go if you want me to.
7.5.
So since it's a Halloween movie, it's a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm biased, but also I just have to give credit to these movies because, and this is my big thing, and I just want to say this real fast. Out of the big three, because I know I keep talking about them, every single one of like Freddy and Jason's movies led to it being goofy, and Michael never was turned into a goofy character.
That's
You're
very
right.
true.
And I really appreciate that about these sequels, so I treat all of them like they're gold because they kept this character's scariness intact. Like, he never turned into a funny killer.
And I
I
will say
appreciate
that I
that.
like the goofy Freddy and Jason movies.
No, I do too. But
I have a certain like enjoyment and love for them.
you've never seen Jason X though, and you got to see it.
I know. I can't wait. I would love to.
It's gonna be so good.
But yeah, so like I like that, but I do agree. Like this movie, I do respect its ability to like keep Michael scary.
Yeah, and he even went and wrote some weird like Sam Hain shit on the chalkboard, and he was still scary, even though it's like, did he like crack a book? Like, what is going on?
When did he learn this?
Did he watch like a cool movie? He's like, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna use that in my real life. I'm gonna use that phrase.
He killed the people when he was like how old? Like 6 or something.
I think he was like 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait,
so like presumably
23 minus 15. What is that?
8.
8.
8.
I want to say 8. I can't. Like my brain's not working right now.
What did 50 Cent do when he got hungry?
8.
58.
I hate it.
Ah!
All right. Anyway, guys,
Thought it was
we're gonna go watch Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Hey, can I tell a bad joke since you told one?
Yeah, go for it.
What's a skeleton's favorite snack?
Oh God, what is it?
Like, give me a second.
I'm not saying
Give me
it
a second,
because I
give me a second,
know.
Give me a second. Got nothing.
Spare ribs.
No.
Dum-dum.
All right, we're closing this.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, it's like one of the worst films I've ever witnessed.
Wow. It's
Wow.
strong. Very strong right off the top.
I'm just kidding. I mean, like, it wasn't that bad. It was fun to watch.
Don't change your opinion just because I jumped in on it. If that's your opinion, stay true to it.
That's
Okay,
like
it did
your
suck,
opinion, man.
But it was fun to watch. I'll give it that.
I'm gonna say that like. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, was it a good movie? Absolutely not.
It was
But did I
terrible.
love watching it? Did I love the experience of watching it? Absolutely, yes, I did. We're talking about Halloween 3, Season
Halloween
of the Witch,
3,
by the way.
Season of the Witch.
I was like realizing that we didn't say that. I mean, we've said it many times during this episode, but we've taken many breaks as well. So
This is truly the infamous. I mean that in the real sense of the word.
Right, yeah.
The infamous sequel that has no Michael Myers in it, kind of, although he is on the television in multiple scenes. But there is no Michael Myers in this film. And it's directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, the guy who almost directed 2, but didn't want to because he wanted to direct this movie, as well as is essentially the creator of the original Halloween mask. He spray painted everything. He shaved all the features off it. He's the one who made the iconic Michael mask, and he decided, well, for my movie, let's just take him out of it. No,
Right.
but as you guys know, this was an attempt at an anthology series.
which I don't have an issue with them doing an anthology. I think that's a cool concept, and I want to be clear. Like, I support the concept. I just don't support this execution.
The title's great for an anthology. Just Halloween, and every Halloween it's something different. That's brilliant.
Right, like that's a lot of fun, and I like that a lot. But like this movie is not good.
No,
This
it
one
is
is
not.
not it, my friends.
It was his take on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He wanted to do his own version.
I mean, that's cool, but like that's a good movie.
Yeah,
And this one isn't.
and a great book, right? I think is it a short story or a book?
It's a book.
It's a great book. I've heard.
Yeah,
According-
I've
I
heard.
can't speak to that.
According to the goth chick in The Faculty, it's a great book.
What's The Faculty? I've never heard of that. I don't
God.
know what that is.
You're gonna have to watch it eventually.
I know. I would love to. I think it
It's-
might like trigger a flashback.
And
for
also,
me, but
it's just a really good movie. Like, I think you'll really like it.
I think I will too. I just like, I just think that it's like, it would like trigger something for me.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would like snap me back. like in The Winter Soldier, wherever they say that thing that they say to him that like turns him on.
And he like turns into the fucking I got you.
That'll be me, but I just like turn into a crying mess. Just like rocking.
Talking about
being
a
like,
McDouble and McDonald's and whatnot.
for those who don't know, we're referencing a video that we did. It's a bonus episode, actually.
Nope.
Is it not?
No,
Nope.
I think it's a regular episode.
Faculty Identity.
Oh, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. But we tried to watch The Faculty, and we tried to do it. If you've seen our Cats video, we tried to replicate that concept where we did some,
That was more an in the moment decision, but yeah.
what Cats or
No, the doing it like Cats.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely. It was like
It
an in the
was
moment
like
decision.
it was a
obviously I have a haze surrounding that day, but we tried to do some drugs and then do
In Minecraft.
and then watch and do drugs
Yes.
in Minecraft
in Minecraft.
and then watch the movie. And I had a really bad time. in Minecraft.
Yeah, like the worst time in Minecraft.
And we did not finish the movie.
Your Minecraft character was just glitching into a ditch like the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the movie. I don't.
Yeah.
I remember Elijah
being,
Wood's blue eyes.
I remember being
That's it.
appalled that man was Jon Stewart.
Yeah, you did not believe me. You're like, you're a fucking liar. I'm like, that's Jon Stewart. You're like, Jon Stewart's old. I'm like, I know, but he wasn't always.
And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're like, you're the one who's high. I'm like, no, not in Minecraft.
Not in Minecraft.
I never
Or
get
in
high in
real
Minecraft.
life.
Yeah, or in real life. Well, no, none of us get high in real life.
Right.
No.
Only in Minecraft.
Only in Minecraft.
Do I ever do that?
Back to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Which is
The
weird.
Witch.
We were talking about the faculty because Josh Hartnett, the start of his career was he made H2O, Halloween H2O, and the faculty at the same time, and those were both his first movies. And he shot them back and forth, like at the same time. Fun little fact for you.
Nice.
But back to season of the Witch. I always forget the guy, the Burt Reynolds wannabe. Do you guys remember his name? It's like Tom Adkins or something like that.
The name of the character or the name of the actor?
The actor.
I have no idea.
Does anybody even remember the name of the character?
He was a doctor.
I just
Dan?
remember
He was Dr. Bad Guy. Dr. Sleazebag.
the one that was
Dr.
hooking up the
Asshole.
whole time with like the one that they tried to pass as a couple with a 20-year-old.
No, I don't. You know what though? I truly believe that was some weird suppressed shit from Tommy. This is how I feel. Tommy Lee Wallace wanted a young girlfriend, so he made it believable in a movie. That's my honest perspective.
Hate that.
How else do you explain that coupling? Like that coupling is ridiculous.
Like you can't. This
It
the
is
only.
literally she's half his age. Like in real life, she was half his age.
Also, like, this is the guy that we're supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah. This and keep in mind he ditches his family during Halloween to go fuck some heartbroken lady who lost her father, who he reminds her of.
Who would have been the same age.
She said, "You remind me of my father," and then he's just gonna slide one in. That's ridiculous.
Right, like he's
Yeah.
like literally preying on this grieving young girl.
Quite literally preying on her. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and then he sucks on her tit for like a really long time.
And, like,
really long time.
Like
bizarre.
Oedipus complex, dude.
And this whole part wasn't the part of Halloween that was supposed to be scary either.
But it was the scariest part.
Right, like every time they're on screen together, you're just like, ew.
All right, so let's go to the beginning of the film right now. All right, so what we now know to be the father of this girl is running away from an unknown force holding a pumpkin mask that looks like it's made of paper mache. And then at some point he's stopped by a very well-dressed, very boring-looking man. Like this dude is like super into Burn Notice. Like he looks like the most boring fucking man on the planet. I'm sorry
They
for any-
all look like, I said that they all look like the guys from The Matrix. What are their names?
Oh yeah, I can't remember right now, but they got
They have a name for them, but like
They
the
do.
main antagonist of The Matrix, how
The
they're all like the
sunglasses and
same
shit, yeah.
guy. That's what they all look like. But they're all actually different guys, but they look the same.
She's never seen Matrix.
We
Me
keep
neither.
saying
I
we're
have
going to do
not.
The Matrix on this podcast.
We'll do it
I
eventually.
want to do it soon.
March Matrix. We'll do it that.
Oh,
March
yeah, we
Madness.
did say that we would do that.
Ooh.
And maybe we'll do a video where we're all dressed up like our own little Matrix personas.
This has been my idea for so long, and I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with the idea of having a Matrix party because the idea in the Matrix is like you look how you truly are in this like weird cyberpunk world. So like I want to.
Wow.
I've really been wanting to have this like party where everybody comes as their Matrix Sona, and like we all wear like weird cyberpunk clothing and sunglasses and shit.
makeup and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally didn't even know The Matrix was about that.
What's about what?
Like what you just said.
She
Yeah,
knows-
that's a minor plot point. That's a minor thing
she-
about the Matrix.
I know
actually,
literally nothing.
this is gonna be a
about
great
The
moment.
Matrix.
Who is the lead in the Matrix? Just the actor's name.
I couldn't tell you.
That's how little she
Wow.
knows. She doesn't know shit. She's never seen a
and
Matrix.
like, dude, that's insane because like he's the one.
But also, it's in the general consciousness. You know
Right,
what I mean?
like everybody.
Like the Matrix, like Shakespeare.
I
the
have
same.
I have a really good way of not being part of the general consciousness always on
You're
stuff.
just because you're always unconscious.
But remember when I didn't know the ending to that one movie that's like the famous.
Wait. Is
Like-
that spoilers? Is
I
it
mean,
spoilers?
Is it really the
It might be.
It literally depends.
What?
the one movie about the dude being dead the whole time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that movie.
I didn't.
Yeah, that movie. We won't say the title, but yeah, no,
but I
everyone
didn't-
knows that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Mass and I are gonna rewatch that soon. Actually,
Yeah, we are.
for no reason at all.
Yep. We don't have any reason to do it. We're just doing it.
But anyway, so this film, man, it's so ridiculous. So anyway, the father, which we don't know the daughter at this point yet, but we know now that this is the father. He's being chased by a well-dressed man, like we said, looks like the dudes from The Matrix, who is hit by the slowest moving car possible and dies.
Yeah. Well, he's like crunched between the car and something else, but it's still,
there's
he
no
shouldn't die
gore.
from it.
There's no gore, but it's the loudest crunch ever.
Yes.
Like snap, papple, bat! Like it's so fucking loud.
I didn't like that at all.
It was so loud, and I hated it when it happened. And then, I guess, like, even though he was also there, he doesn't get hit by the car, and he, like, crawls underneath it. And then he, like, runs up to a dude who's definitely 1,000% minding his own business, doesn't want to be a part of any of this, and has him take him to the hospital. And then when they get to the hospital for, like, a little bit, they're, like, kind of racist towards this guy. Like, what were you doing there? Like, he brought him to the fucking hospital. And
like,
I guess that's...
why would you think that
also,
he would...
like, he just works at the gas station,
Yeah.
so, like
he was just doing his job, literally.
I pose that the whole reason they did that was because the only character that's nice to him is the doctor character and says, you can go home. I think that was the director and the writer trying to tell us, this is the good guy, because he's not overtly racist.
right, like, and he's not the good, like, no one is a good guy in this movie. Everyone is terrible.
Except for maybe...
I kind of like the gas station attendant.
Yeah, I was gonna say that maybe...
I was gonna say, except for him, yeah, he was pretty good.
He helped in 2 different times in the film. He helped for no good reason. He helped at 2 different moments.
Yeah, for no
no one would have
reason.
faulted him for just like minding.
Franny
his
is
business.
geeking over there. What is so funny?
I'm just giggling.
Oh, we do have fun, don't we?
We have no fun, no nonsense.
Very serious podcast.
We are nonsense free up in here.
Okay, so anyway, after he's overtly not racist, they cut to
It's just crazy that they couldn't write a character that was likable, so they
made everyone else unlikable.
I mean,
That was
it is one way to go.
But then as a result, you hate everybody except for the singing bum and the guy who works at the gas station, and you still kind of hate the singing bum, to be honest.
Like
Singing
he didn't.
bum, yeah.
He didn't have to
What a
sing that
guy.
song again. We didn't have to be in.
And guys, there's a
yeah.
#1 hit song in this movie. Just we can't sing it because of copyright, but. Which isn't it? There's a song that's blatantly taken from. What is it?
Mary has a little lamb.
Yeah. Silver Shamrock. That's
the
that shit.
Silver Shamrock.
In case you don't hear it the first time in the film, like let's say you go and have a bathroom breaker, refill your popcorn. You're gonna hear
This
it a
movie's
fucking
gonna
million
make sure
times.
you hear it.
You will hear that song every day.
Also,
It
like
haunts you.
it's very strange because they use this song as a way to mark time. So it's constantly a countdown, like
But then
6 more days to Halloween. And so that's like they use that to mark time, but there's no point in the passage of time.
And not only
Like,
that,
there's
but
a
they
point in this
also
movie-
literally mark time the whole time any
right,
fucking
they
way.
always are telling you what day it is. And it's really fucking weird because like it doesn't matter what day it's happening on. And then there are times when nothing happens.
Yeah.
And like there's a day which literally like in the film lasts 2 minutes and one thing happens.
And here's the other
Right?
thing. I posit at one point that there's a 2-day gap just so he can get an autopsy report that says nothing's wrong with the person.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why did that take 2 days? This is movie logic. You could have told us in 5 minutes you figured it out. Like, we're
Nobody
gonna
would have
believe
been
you.
upset by that. Like it would have been all right.
Yeah, like the thing that I don't believe is that he ran in the course of 5 days. He randomly hooked up with the dude that he was caring for his daughter. They drive out to the countryside where there's this random Irish town in the middle of the U.S.
Yeah, why are
And
they
fuck.
Irish?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Weird
almost feels
anti-Irish sentiment
Right.
lingering from.
It feels like it's trying to be
Well,
like
actually,
a St.
no, I do have the
Patrick's
reason
Day
why.
movie too, and like
Yeah, it is kind of a St. Patrick's
Yeah.
Day movie if we want to be
Which
racist
I hate
about it.
that.
But no, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, the original script called for when the mask came out, snakes came out. But then they didn't fucking keep that. They made it whatever. They made it like
the
brain
whole,
melt
like,
and
snakes out of
spiders and
Ireland type stuff.
yeah, ridiculous.
There were snakes, but it wasn't just snakes. Or
Yeah,
like
if it was
crickets
just
and
snakes, I'd
spiders and
almost
shit.
argue that maybe it works, but not really. But at least you'd
Yeah.
understand why they're Irish. Like, there's no reason for them to be Irish now.
I mean, a lot of the things that happen in this movie happen for no reason. Like, so what you find out is that the masks are like a ploy somehow. Like, when the kids put on the mask and the song plays and they're watching it for the big giveaway or whatever, that's the ruse.
It's not the song that does it, though.
It's like the flashing.
the
well,
flashing
yeah, the
on the
flashing of the
TV,
video or whatever.
Flashes on the metal
pumpkin, not the
that's
penguin.
made out of fucking Stonehenge.
Yes,
On the,
that too. They stole Stonehenge for this. But anyway, when the thing happens, it's supposed to melt the children's brains and all the children will die.
Yeah.
And
And
for
also
some reason,
spiders.
that's connected to this weird like cult thing that they've got going on.
Yeah.
Bringing back in the whole Sam Hine,
yeah,
whatever it is.
Sahwin or whatever.
Yeah,
Sam
I'm not
Hain.
saying that shit. Sam Hain.
Sam Hain.
You know, it just really sucks that such a simple but good concept of a babysitter fighting off a bad guy then led to this.
Right. But like anyway, that's like the whole thing because it's like their cult thing that like to kill these children. And like it's never super clear what that achieves.
And
It gives them some sort of power.
Like what does it do for you?
and also, like, who's a real person, who are robots? Because at one point,
yeah.
there's clearly a robot. Like, a robot was in the room.
It took me a minute to like.
and
Sorry.
Sorry, it fucked up. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, anyway, so
Technical
Bridget,
difficulties.
Yes.
Bridget, she saw a robot's head fall off its body, and I was like, they're all robots, and she's like, what? That's spoilers. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Look at this.
Okay, so my
They-
thing was, I thought it was like when they saw the first robot, there was like
The robot, yes.
the robot, yes, there was knitting. I thought that was some weird Halloween prop thing.
You thought it was they built a knitting robot and only one robot, and it was
That's
a
hilarious.
old lady who knits?
Yes.
Okay.
To
I'm
me,
just making sure
I
that's
thought
what
it
you
was pretty clear that the guys in suits were robots.
I mean, they bled frozen orange juice, which looks disgusting on
It
screen.
does.
But
It
it's,
looks
to know
so
that it's just
gross.
orange juice makes it so funny. Like, you know, he was just like, this is delicious when he was spitting it out. But, like, we're like, oh, my God, that's so gross.
Like, I think that
and like the gore in this film is orange juice.
It
That
really
like
is.
says everything you need to know
The
about
gore in
this
this film
movie.
is orange. And a lady looked at the back of a Halloween mask chip, like the back mark of a Halloween mask, and got blasted in the fucking face.
And it was
That-
hilarious.
did not
was like
look real.
one of the best moments in the movie. But then, like, I will give this movie props for like when she actually started dying. That shit was fucking gross, and I didn't like it at all. So like,
Yeah.
I'll hand that
Yeah.
to this movie.
There's some
for
pretty
that
cool.
moment.
There's pretty cool practical effects in the movie, especially for the
But
time.
then the non-practical, like the special effects,
are
are
terrible.
ass.
That laser beam
So
was
bad.
so bad.
It's so funny.
So, or the guy's face as you guys remember the.
So fondly. And so it's like the big villain of this movie, the guy who's like been orchestrating all of this is dying. He's just like I can't even describe it. I can't even
He just
describe it. You
fades
have to
away.
see it. He just like he's like that meme, you know, that guy, like the meme where he's like just piecing out and fading away.
Oh my
you know
God.
the one that I'm
Yeah.
talking about? It was literally like that.
It's literally what he looks like. I just.
To me, like this movie feels like well, never mind. This isn't something that
feels
non-Cincinnati
like
people would
We
understand.
had more fun watching this movie than we did Halloween 2.
This feels like
Correct.
a B
Absolutely.
like horror movie, you know? Like
yeah, well,
like this feels like when you worked at Retract Video Store.
They're all
here.
dead now. You can see family
Family
video. They're all going away.
Like whenever I'd look at the little poster that you guys would get of like the new releases, and there'd be like these random like fake like horror movies.
Zombie cheerleader Holocaust.
Yeah, like-
shit
like-
Oh
that.
my God.
that movie sounds great.
It
Actually.
exists. There was another one where it was what was it? Super Tornado Shark was another
Yeah.
one. Like trying to be Sharknado, but
Yeah.
you find out
Yeah.
that it's actually not Sharknado. They're using sharks to stop the tornado.
That sounds
I'm sorry.
better.
What?
That sounds amazing.
stupid.
Actually,
They're like the centrifugal force of the sharks going the opposite direction as the twister will stop it. But then there
That
were
sounds
just
right.
But then there's sharks just flying through the air.
Oh.
Oh, and Lava Lantula is another good one about a lava tarantula.
All of these sound amazing. What the fuck are we doing on this podcast if not reviewing those?
Like, if this movie made me feel high when I hadn't done any drugs in Minecraft at all,
Yeah.
those posters make me feel like,
Imagine if we did shrooms in Minecraft and watched this. Like, that's insane.
Oh my god,
I couldn't handle it, dude.
No.
Yeah.
My Minecraft character would melt.
This movie doesn't feel like it was a movie, you know?
What I thought about this
plot.
movie was, well, there is a plot. It's just stupid.
I don't care about the plot so much
and
that
like
it feels like there's not
this
plot.
movie is bizarre.
It's bizarre. That's the
Like-
most bizarre. Forget everything else. The weird times they use and the speed at which things happen is
It's
the
strange.
weirdest pacing I've ever
Because
seen.
there are times when like a lot happens in such little time.
Feels like you fast forwarded parts of the movie and then like slow mode other parts.
But like then there's times when it's like, it's not that like you have a long stretch of time where nothing happens and it's boring. It's that a long stretch of time happens in the span of 2 minutes and for no reason at all.
Yeah. And then I
It's
love
fucking bizarre.
I love the Jamie Lee Curtis like cameo.
Yes, that's fun.
That was really fun. A lot of people don't pick up on that.
I just love that like the movie Halloween is like playing on many TVs in the background, reminding you that you could be watching a better movie right now, but you're not.
Yeah, they do it to us twice. At one point, they literally have the main character in one of these bad Halloween masks tied up, being forced to watch this movie, and that's how we feel watching this movie. Like we're forced to watch it.
And again, just reminding you that you could be watching something better. It's really upsetting.
And then
Right.
the worst part about the whole movie is he wins, but he loses.
Yeah.
He beat the bad guy, but because the commercial's still going to go live,
On one channel,
he
yeah.
still lost.
I really hate in movies and like like when the guy wins and it was all for naught.
Yeah.
Because then I feel
no,
like
but here's the thing: this whole movie is already for naught. And the thing is the one attachment you get, because there's actually a cool sequence where they show all these kids at different points in the U.S. wearing these masks. I really like that montage because it's the one point in the movie where it feels like we're not watching a fucking cartoon, where we see like kids riding skateboards or other, like you get a general sense now. Oh, this is something bigger. It's
right,
like it's
and
like
you want those children to live, even though this movie.
so when they die anyway, you're like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, it's like, well, why did I even watch this then?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It reminds me of not to stir up any controversy, but it reminds me of The Invitation, where like there is that one great scene with like the lanterns at the end. You know, I feel like that great scene for this was the montage of children everywhere, and if they would have saved them, it would have really resonated. But they're fucking dead anyway, and it's like, why?
Yeah, it just feels like at
And
that
it's like
point,
you pointed out, why didn't you turn off the TV for at least those 3 kids? Like, what an asshole!
right? He's like sitting there,
Right.
like, no, and I'm like,
stop it!
like you
Stop
could just, boop, stop it. Like at least you can save 3 of them, you know.
And then it could be like, I don't know, the last 3 kids on Earth. I don't know.
Yeah, he
That's
really
a better
didn't-
movie.
It is, isn't it?
I don't know about that.
I think most movies are better than this one. I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's a good
I'll give
movie.
you
I'm
that. I'll
saying
give
it's
you
probably
that.
better.
It just feels like that at that point with all like the weird like shit that comes out of all the masks we're watching After Earth at that point. Like
That's a good
just a
point
bunch
too.
of dopey ass kids fighting stuff being boring.
But what this movie felt like to me was this is, you know, this probably won't resonate with anyone unless you like are local to this area. But I think it bears saying it because I think it does describe the movie in an interesting way. There's this amusement park nearby, and there's this ride that takes place indoors and inside of a spaceship. It's like an alien abduction type ride.
Yeah.
And because the ride's indoors and it's an amusement park and it's really hot, the lines get really, really long for this ride. And so so like, you know, the inside where you're waiting is kind of cool. You've got this like spaceship looking thing, and it's like you're in like Area 51 or some shit. And then there's TVs, and they're playing this like shitty little movie
Yeah.
explaining to you what's been going on with this alien abduction. This movie feels like that movie. Turn off your fucking phone.
it couldn't have made that noise.
It
though.
made it on the laptop actually because it's connected to his
Oh.
phone. Yep. Just thought about that.
Wow.
Because it popped up.
Well,
He's like, it couldn't have.
They're probably
And Logan was like,
I always mute my phone. I just put it on airplane mode, so it definitely can't happen now.
Logan just like, I'm good.
I was good. I was like,
You are.
I
Dude,
never. If anybody ever has phone issues, it is literally never me.
Yeah.
Dude,
You're right. I'd
I'm
never been
very
you.
strict about it. So I'm like, what the fuck? Damn it. That's what I'd say. That's another reason why I'm going to unlink my account from this laptop.
Yeah.
That's the number one reason right there. Okay.
Yeah, it just feels like a shitty movie that
Yeah,
you
it's-
watch in line for a ride.
And a lot of people argue, and I think this needs to be mentioned, and Mustafa Akkad even said this, like kind of the king of Halloween. He said that people would like this movie if it didn't have the name
I
Halloween
wanted to talk
attached
about that
it.
as well.
No.
Because I don't
they
think
would
that's
not.
Yeah,
But I
don't
will think
think-
there are people who like this movie, and I think it's
There are people who are
weird.
dedicated to this movie.
Right,
There's
yes.
there's active merch. There's people trying to get it on Criterion. There's people who say that this is the best Halloween movie.
absolutely
I don't
not.
think those people are right.
That's insane.
Like
Correct.
to me, I very much love this movie. I think it is a great bad movie. Like I love this movie. It's not really comparable because I was gonna say I love this movie like I love Tusk, but like Tusk is a good movie.
Tusk is a great movie, yeah.
But like it's a really good, fun, bad movie to watch. How these people feel about this movie, I imagine must be akin to what I feel to Tusk because they like this movie and they think it's good.
Yeah.
But like like to me, I would understand the cult following if it were like this is a good bad movie that everyone loves.
I mean, I think the only reason
You
it's
know-
gotten to where it is because of what it's attached to.
What I was gonna say is I think this is a classic case of cinema boy contrarian, where if you're a fucking horror fan or you're a cinema fan and everybody hates a certain movie, you then like the movie. Because you want to be fucking different. I swear to God, that has to be a part of it.
I definitely agree.
Probably,
I would
yeah.
love to like if there are people who really like this movie, like not on the level that I like it, which is like this is a hilarious piece of cinema. But if you're like this is like quality art, and if it were not Halloween, this would be like well known to be a
Yeah,
great movie.
this would be in a Criterion. This would be right up there with Jaws and Houseu.
Then I would right. Then I would love to know your reasoning for that because I'm really open to understanding it because I don't get it because this movie is not it for me.
Like, if you are one of these people, shoot us an email.
Or just like comment below and like let
Yeah.
us. I would almost prefer you comment because I'm sure there's people
Yeah.
who feel like I do,
Yeah.
and like I'm sure that they want to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love
That's
for there to be
true.
like a fiery debate about the merits of this movie in the comment.
and I think it's interesting that after all this time, horror, like Halloween fans, especially, like they hate this movie too much. Like there's a level in which the super hardcore Halloween fans like shit on this movie. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's like the end of the world movie like everybody talks about. Like it's like the fucking Jack and Jill of horror films. That's what a lot of people talk about it like. But
The Jack and Jill of horror films is just Hubie Halloween.
yeah.
oh no.
Randy's like, we should watch Hubie Halloween. I'm
You
like,
know,
you're on meth. This is
I
terrible.
made a mistake by listening to random people on
I
Facebook.
would-
Yeah. By the way, if you see, this is why you should listen to our podcast. If you only listen to reviews on Facebook, you're gonna watch things like The Haunting of Bly Manor, Big Fucking Snore, or you're gonna
I
watch things
actually
like
am still
Hubie
gonna
Halloween.
watch Haunting of Bly Manor because
You know, I wanted it to be good. I really
And
did,
I
and
think-
it
I've
was
heard
so
mixed
bad.
things. I know some people who like it and some people who
I heard
don't.
it's
so.
like a romance, and like it took like the weird parts of like the book, the Screw or whatever, the
Turning of the Screw.
Turning of the Screw. That it took all the things that pretty much the Turning left out, but then took out all the interesting things as well that the Turning had.
What I've heard from
Like-
some people is that like their standards were so low because they saw The Turning recently that they were like anything's better than this.
I mean, I'd almost rather watch The Turning than this.
At least the
episode.
Turning was like entertaining in
Yeah.
some parts. Like this was fucking boring.
And they also like cast like the younger like brother character way too young. too.
It is weird that he's like hot for her because he's
Yeah.
like 9 and he's like,
Yeah.
I want to.
It's odd.
That is weird.
It's odd.
Oh,
It's a weird
no.
choice.
He's like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
sniff you when you're not looking. Like, get out of here, you fucking
And
little
also the
gremlin.
kid
Like,
actresses are
I
not good,
don't like that at all.
and they're a big part of it.
Yeah, that seems uncomfortable.
oh, the kid actress. I want to fucking kill her. I'm sorry. I've never felt this way about
Isn't
a kid.
it splendid?
Yeah, there's certain things that child actors and actresses do, and you can't blame them for it. It's the way the script works, and it has to do with their limited level of talent. We're reviewing Bly Manor right now. I just want to say this one thing. She is so fucking awful. I mean, she should feel bad that that her career is gonna die with this show.
Yeah.
Even if you love the show, there is no fucking way. This is the happening. You know what I mean? This is gonna kill this girl's career.
Oh, that's
There's
sad.
no fucking way she can recover from this.
No, it's awful.
She was so awful. She was so awful. She reminded me like the Splendid Kids from down the lane from like Kids Next Door. Like she was like the embodiment of that. I just wanted her to fucking go away. Like not die. I'm not angry enough for her to die. I want her to like leave, start a new life, and like not be a part
Oh
of
my
any of it.
gosh.
Anyway, so what do we rate
Change her name,
Halloween 3
like-
Season of the Witch
Oh yeah, I guess we're back on that now.
as our final Halloween piece? Kind of odd.
I know.
I'm-
It's been the spookiest of seasons, guys.
But I got plans for next year. We're gonna do both versions of the Curse of Michael Myers because they're so different. I want to do that next year. I want to do Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills next year.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that to
I
be
am
a thing.
too.
And in the following years, we'll keep doing Halloween. We'll eventually get to the Rob Zombie stuff. We'll do it.
Yeah, I want to do Rob
I want
Zombie
to get
stuff
to
as
the
well.
Rob Zombie stuff right now.
If
Yeah,
this
I want
video
us
gets
to-
10,000 views, then we'll do the Rob Zombie stuff.
Hell yeah, let's yes.
Break the rules, baby. Let's do it up.
I challenge you, viewers, to get this up to 10,000.
Gentle viewers.
10,000 views, we'll do it. We promise.
I rate this a 0.5.
I'm gonna rate it a 3.
Okay, like, here's the thing. This is a very bad movie, but I loved it.
It's awesome.
I think it's hilarious.
Some parts of it are really awesome.
Yeah, there are some parts of this movie that are amazing, and even like the parts that are like boring are still like you're still laughing because you're like, this is
what
so
is
fucking
this?
idiotic.
Like the
So
laser.
for those reasons, I give this film a 7 out of 10 because I love it.
Wow.
Well,
Wow,
this,
that's
But
really
like you have to understand that I'm not giving it a 7 out of 10 like technically.
yeah.
like for craft. It's
Right,
for
it's
enjoyment.
7 out of 10 for like the level that I like it, which is I guess what my ratings
and
are.
actually, I know we're shitting on the craft, but a lot of the practical effects in this actually are cool. Just saying.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, I actually like the practical effects. This movie has this movie does not have an effects problem.
No.
I mean, it has a special effects problem, but this movie's
Yeah.
real problems are pacing, plot, and characters,
Yeah.
which are 3 really important things when you make a film. So
And you know what?
struggles
Actually,
a
too,
bit.
setting. Setting is an issue for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
it
just the
doesn't-
plot in general, but the setting alone
It
is
doesn't
troubling.
have to occur where it does, and like
When it does or why it does. Like, then none of this has to happen. But because it's a Halloween movie for me, and I think it's really funny, and I did say the Halloween movies are always going to have a higher standard for me, it is a 7 out of 10 for me.
that's
Wow.
exactly how I feel. Like it's really fun to watch. It's very fun to watch this movie.
Like, you'll definitely, like, I'm going to be honest with you, if you're a Halloween fan, in a way, even if you're only a Michael fan, you need to watch this movie because it's cultural, it's significant to the history of the series.
it's culturally relevant.
It is kind of culturally relevant, though, in a way. Because it is the exact embodiment of how 80s sci-fi horror fucking was.
Yeah.
All those old movies are like this. Watch Pet Sematary, bitch. It's
I
just
love
like
Pet
this.
Sematary.
I haven't seen Pet Cemetery.
Pet Sematary is just like this.
I love it.
I
Is it really?
stand by that. A little bit better
It is.
acting, a little bit better story, just as corny, just as ridiculous.
Yeah, I love like 80s horror movies that are fucking stupid.
Like,
So
like that's why I say it's significant because it's a part of a major series where it's the only one where it doesn't have the actual guy in it.
right.
But also it's so indicative of like every horror sci-fi.
Yes.
Yeah, all of it.
I think it's really interesting as we've watched a couple Halloween movies now, how much the obviously not the first one, but how much Halloween 2 and this Halloween 3 movie are influenced by horror movie culture at the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like, and that's really interesting to me because it's like
One was a trendsetter, the other
right.
was
It was
trend
like because you
followers.
started it, baby. Like you don't have to do that.
Good point.
And I think Tommy Lee Wallace, I think that the biggest issue with it is like the story of the director. He wanted to make this movie a certain way, and he wasn't even willing to do 2 in the script it had. He was just really into making his own Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that he should have went and made his own feature separate from this, and maybe they're right. It would have had more success. But this particular
Yeah, I
movie,
mean-
made by committee, no. This movie had no chance of success.
Right. And I think that like the idea of doing Halloween as an anthology like makes sense, but what they didn't account for was that Michael Myers would become so iconic that people
iconic.
need to be him there. Need to be him there?
Need to have him
Need
there.
him to be there.
Yeah.
Like if they had done, Halloween and then Halloween 2 was an entirely different movie.
Which is what
Which is what they wanted.
but the studio was like, "Fuck you! You made a gajillion dollars." It's still,
Right.
it's still the most. I know it's still the most profitable Halloween movie, but it still might very well be the most profitable indie film. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah, so
That makes
like
a lot of sense.
if they had done that, this film might have done better. But the fact is, people had an expectation for a Halloween movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then not only did they make this movie that didn't have Michael Myers in it, but then they went out of their way to tell you that this movie is happening in a universe where Michael Myers does not exist.
And then I was listening to I was watching In Search of Darkness. It's a documentary about 80s horror movies. And one guy
you're a little producer on.
which I have a producer credit on that, but only because I paid money. Anyway, but the point is,
That's what producing a movie is. You pay money. And
well,
the
now
movie gets
they're
made.
making the second one, and I'm just like, man, if our podcast was only popular enough for us to talk on it, that'd be crazy. Because there's smaller channels on there talking. So he mentions that a big thing that people argue is like, if it was an anthology movie, why did you put the 3 at the end? Because that was false advertisement. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there may have been trailers, but at the same time, their trailers contained the scenes of Michael from the first Halloween, the TV stuff. It contained it, as well as most people who are like driving by the cinema and they see Halloween 3, they're not going to put Season of the Witch there.
that feels
They're going to be
icky.
like, that's Halloween 3, baby. Here we go. And they go in there like, what the fuck is this?
Right, yeah. Making it Halloween 3 is weird. It should have just been Halloween Season of the Witch.
Exactly.
Because that alone differentiates it.
Like
Right.
I forgot so much that this was called technically Halloween 3 that when I went to make our Twitter post, I almost put like Halloween 1, Halloween 1, like 2, and then Halloween Season of the Witch.
Yeah, which is what it should have been called.
I know.
Right.
So that's
I
the-
literally had
But-
that typed down. Was like,
But the
why does that
issue
look
was
weird?
They wanted to make money.
Yeah.
They wanted people to think that it was going to be another Michael Myers movie.
So for all the people who worked on the movie who are pissed, like, because we didn't make Michael, you don't like it. It's not because of that. You falsely advertised it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's probably not like the people who worked on the movie's fault necessarily that they advertised it the way they did. I think it's a production thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like they wanted people to think that this was going to be a movie with Michael Myers in it because they knew that people liked that,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't, and everybody was pissed, and they're like, "Well, you don't like the movie."
Well, yeah.
But
Well,
there it is.
all right. So, guys, what are we promoting again? We want you guys to follow us on the Twitter,
Yes, please.
Yes.
which the Twitter is.
Crosscut Cinema.
Yep. And then if you're listening to us on any other
it
platform,
sure is.
if you're listening to us on Spotify and all that stuff, that's awesome. But you should also subscribe to our YouTube channel just because it's youtube.com/crosscutcinema. That's mainly where we get our views and everything. So,
And also, if you ring the like little bell, you'll get notifications.
And that's pretty cool.
yeah. And then also, if you follow us on Twitter, you'll get notifications. So it's all about just keeping up with us. I know, as far as like the Halloween stuff goes, that you guys are I mean, I know you're just dying for us to talk about more Halloween stuff, but I'm standing by that. If this gets 10,000 views, we'll do Rob Zombie, baby. We'll do
I'd
1
love
and
to
2,
do it.
and we'll also do more next year as well. So, and then
I have very fond memories of watching Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's a very strange movie.
It's
and I
so
think it's
strange. Have you seen
But
the
we're
first
not
one?
going to review
Yeah.
it right now.
No, I know, but I would love to review it, but only if it gets 10,000.
Only 10,000 views.
Also, still, if you tweeted us on Twitter and you're following
Yes.
us, you'll get a shout out. We still want to give people shout outs, so tweet at us.
Absolutely.
We'll say whatever you want.
And it was a lot of fun to have Bridget
within
be the
reason.
arbiter.
Within reason.
It was a lot of fun to have Bridget be the arbiter of those shout outs. So come on,
Yeah.
guys.
And what were we gonna say?
Okay, what are we doing
Which
next?
we found that was my friend Louie. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Louie.
Hi,
Because
Louie. Shout out again. Whatever.
In the
thing-
Discord, I saw that he called himself Harry Ascrack. I'm like, there's no way that's not him. Then
I didn't even see his like username or whatever.
he literally typed in "I'm Harry Ascrack," so I think he was trying to say I'm that Twitter. So
Oh,
Thanks, Louie.
yeah,
Hi,
you're
Louie.
right.
What's up? I mean, like,
Hey,
he's a good boy.
What's poppin'?
He's a good noodle.
thanks for sending me the pictures of your plants.
One
That was
time he
really
randomly
cool.
gave me a taco from Taco Bell because I live nearby, and he like had an extra one, so he went to my house on his bike.
wow.
And he gave me a taco.
Oh,
what
Nice
a good
friend.
friend.
I don't know if
like,
you remember
what
that,
a
Louie.
real one, dude.
And we used to have Super Smash Brother tournaments in his parents' apartment buildings. It was a good time. Anyway, sorry guys.
I want to be Louie's friend, dude.
Louie's a good dude.
I feel like I am
he
Louie's
is my friend
friend.
because he listens to this podcast and like I know who he is.
Yeah.
And I'm in a group chat with him. So-
Yeah, exactly.
So I want like Louie, we're friends, okay?
Yeah, dude, Louie,
Like-
we're all best buddies.
He literally
Louie, you're invited
sent
to my
me
wedding.
Pictures.
Yes,
He literally sent me pictures of his plants.
he's a plant guy. He loves
See,
his
this
Plant
is
plants.
what happens when you
guy.
tweeted us.
Yeah, we become friends with you guys. Like
And we
close
talk
friends.
about how much we love you.
All right. So also, what are we doing next week?
Yeah, what are we doing next week? We just talked about
it's
it.
the thing. The thing. It's called a thing that I don't know.
Yes, it's called a thing, and it's like blowing
An
up
American
right
Murder?
now. It's an American murder. It's the story
American
of...
Murder Story. Is that what it's called?
No,
I think it's just
Google it.
American Murder.
I think it's just American Murder.
Hold on. Talk, saying words, filling the silence.
Well, regardless, we're gonna do our first documentary review.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And then if you guys like that, we got more. We can talk about Tickled and other stuff. So we'll see how that video does.
Yeah, we want to try to do a documentary because we think it'll be fun, and we do like,
It's just American Murder, The Family Next Door.
yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about.
It is about the murder of Shanann Watts and her children, as perpetrated by Chris Watts. It's kind of like a lot of people are watching it right now,
Yeah.
and it's a really interesting documentary. And we like true crime as well, and we don't talk about it a
And
whole
you
lot.
can find it on Netflix right now.
Yep. It is on Netflix. It's
Isn't
a
it-
Netflix
isn't-
original.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's a Netflix original. But
It certainly is. So that's
Logan
what we're
beat
doing
me.
next week. So if you like true crime, you should definitely check that out. Or if you have mixed feelings on true crime, I think you should check it out too, because I think that's going to come up. Because
We
I
also,
definitely
we
think it
also have
will.
mixed feelings. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Spooky.
Happy Halloween, motherfucker.